Hello, everybody. Welcome to Martial Olympiad 8v8 Reborn. 228 Blackwatch versus Black Omen Week 3. It's me, System Belmont from D4. My host, Saruman from D5. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Back after the late night cast with Imperial versus Mercstar, which was a lot of fun. Joining System Belmont as his assistant caster. Pro temp, he's paying me a very nice salary to do a lot of talking about absolute.
Oh, you died right there.
I died.
You died, yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
It might cut out. Which is fine, because we have half a team here so far. The other team's starting to come in one by one. Kras and Pasha here from JGX. Sneaking in onto their secret team into the National North American Division.
The secret team that has members of Eon Synergy, no doubt. Now, this is going to be probably one of the more interesting games of Division A. Am I cutting out now, by the way?
No, you're perfect right now.
Excellent. Just to test. 1, 2, 3. I probably shouldn't execute these on stream, but oh well. This is going to be the game that becomes the big decider for Division A. Now, Imperial's definitely shown some weakness over the coming weeks. Even though they won against Black Omen 2-3, they did it at a heavy cost. Black Omen got more kills in that game, even though they did lose 2-3. And then against Mercstar, they allowed Mercstar to almost have a chance to take 2 matches from them. So right now, if any team's going to take over the top spot over from Imperial, it's going to be one of these two teams. 228 took a drop off from Imperial, so they didn't necessarily do as well as Black Omen, but 228's definitely shown enough moxie that they could potentially sneak into that top spot. But whoever's going to try and steal that top spot from Imperial is going to come down to this match. 228 Black Omen. Right now, Black Omen has the better shot, but even still, 228 has a lot of talent on their team. Dom925 has shown a lot of flexibility in being a strong, medium, and light. Archon Adam Steiner, Gilakuna, Premier Range Traders, Panic Button, One Last Bite, also doing extremely well in the light role as they showed against Evil, where they did excellent work against the Light Lance. Admiral Korean Jesus, i.e., good old Mikado Soul, who actually used to be a caster for a while, basically filling in wherever's needed, and Todoc also doing some work as well. And then we got JGX, Krasnopesky, Light Pilot Extraordinaire, leader of that Light Lance, doing a lot to bring not JGX, Black Omen into the full. Pasha, JZ, Dario also forming a steady backbone of traders, and then they also got Lermgod and Kondo back there also as range traders as well, and they brought in Eon's MVP from the WC 2018, Lizzie, everyone's favorite Mad Russian. Not only is he mad in his head, but he's mad in his raging. Dude's salty as hell, but he deserves it. Probably one of the best range traders of the game. Easily has enough skill in his thumb to be able to take on 99% of the MechWarrior Online base and then some. It's going to be a huge challenge for 228 to outtrade this heavy lance, and I do think that it's definitely going to come down to the light lances a little more. One Lance and Panic Button are definitely going to need to bring their A game, because you sure as shit know Krasnopesky is going to bring his A game. Sorry about that language, but this is going to be a very exciting match. You know these teams are going to play hard because it all comes down to this.
Well, yeah, you know 228 Blackwatch placed third last year, 2017, sorry, so they have no business putting up with teams like this. You know, they got a good rounded team, so there's no reason why they couldn't put up a good showing here tonight or against any of the top teams, so it'll be interesting to see.
Definitely, and it's worth noting that while EMP is definitely showing some marks, these teams still have a very hard road ahead of them. They're going to have to play each other again later on in the season, and then both teams are going to have to overcome the mounting juggernaut that is EMP. So, sure, this game's going to be a big deal. It's going to definitely set the momentum and set the tempo, but even after they win this game, it's not like they can just go home and rest their heads or their laurels. They still have a huge challenge ahead of them. And I think that both of them are up for it, you know? Like, I love the attitude of these teams. They're bringing out a lot of interesting strategies. Black Omen brought nice range decks. They showed that they can play maps like Rubelite, River City very well, bringing a combination of range DACA, also bringing some interesting choices in light mechs, going from the fleet to the urban mech, but it goes the same way with 228. They're bringing the linebacker back in style. Love that heavy mech. Pretty much functions as a light. They're also bringing in some very interesting combinations of mechs, such as the Incubus and high-level range trades. And it's going to be very it's going to be awesome to see what 228 does with their light lance. You know, they're always trying to kind of reinvent the wheel, and while it doesn't work sometimes, it does work some other times. They go from the wheel to the cart to something even more amazing, and I think that we're going to see some of it here. Panic Button's going to have to pull out all the stops, since there's definitely going to be a slight weakness in the range trade game. Not to take anything away from Adam or Gilakuda, not saying they can't get it done, but Black Omen's range traders have definitely shown a lot. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And I believe we are going to actually start the map bam phase now.
Do they know what's going on?
They are knowing it's going on. I'm going to let them know right now. You might want to pull that.
I'm good.
Letting the team leaders know that they can start when they're ready.
I like the other one better. Just too much black space in this one.
You know what? I can kind of agree. Like, you know, you got the you got a nice amount of, you got a nice list. You know, has a lot of space occupied. You got bars there for all that. It's nice.
It's so tiny for me too. I can't even. So Bog's banned by Blackwatch. I can't even tell what's banned by Black Omen.
They banned Black
City.
Omen banned Terratherma and Alpine, and right now it's coming down to Rubelite. Perfect. Rubelite Oasis. This is actually a favorite of Black Omen, especially since Black Omen's players do play on JGX. They play this map a lot. This map is a favorite staple map in EU. I would say that probably around 60 to 66% of the matches in EU come down to Rubelite as far as the bans go.
Well, it is definitely a good map.
This is a map that's going to be... And you know what? This is actually disadvantageous for 228. They've been playing all their matches so far have been taking place on Alpine. Death from Above has also been banning a combination of Rubelite and the other maps. They've been playing mainly on River City and Alpine. So this is kind of uncharted territory for 228. 228 Blackwatch at least. JZ, Lermgod, those factions of 228 Wild Ones, they're very familiar with Rubelite Oasis. But even still, like the North American 228, they don't really know this map a lot. You know, they avoid this map like the plague, it seems. And with a decent reason. It's more of a trading map. 228, very good traders, as I said, but they like to go for kind of more unconventional styles of strategies. So I want to see how they play this. Like, I honestly wish that we could just do drops 4 and 5 first and say, you know what, forget 1, 2, and 3. But that's not how things go.
Well, I'm looking at what we have to go first. We have Tourmaline Desert in drop 1, and then Caustic Valley in drop 2 and 3, which I did misspell there. God damn it. As well, we got the 575 to 625 tonnage for drop 1, and then 350 to 375 for 2 and 3. Then flip mode and drop 3 for the home team. And then maybe we will go into Rubelite Oasis for drop 4 and 5. So this will be interesting to see.
Rubelite Oasis is probably going to be the most interesting one. I have a feeling Caustic, you're probably not going to see that much strategies. We've seen Imperial kind of do brawl rushes against Mercstar, and then Mercstar kind of follow back with some range trades at the top of the hills. But at the same time, Imperial definitely had a disadvantage because they were playing a brawl deck expecting to also brawl, and they kind of just pushed, hoping to bring the game to a swift and steady conclusion. I don't think that Blackwatch or Black Omen are going to play that way. I think they're going to play it much more carefully. We might see a bit more brawl from 228 side than Black Omens, mainly because of Lizzie's fake comment during matches where he says teams that he's involved with, mainly Eon, they're not good brawlers. JGX also doesn't have a history of brawling, which is where much of the pilots from Black Omen originally came from. You know, Black Omens, Krasnopesky, Pasha, they were originally part of JGX, which was a prominent Australian team, mix of Australian and New Zealanders. Oceanic is probably more accurate, but that team never was a major brawling team. They specialized in range. You know, there's a reason why portions of maps are called, like, say, CSJ Hill on Tourmaline, because they kind of redefine what it meant to play ranged on those maps. And then you have 228 from Kondo, LearnGod, JZ. They definitely know how to brawl more than other players, but, you know, the other members of the team, Lizzie, Pasha, Kraz, they're probably not as comfortable with brawl as other teams are. 228 might be more in their element there, so we might see 228 try and run brawl push on Caustics to try and fight that. But Tourmaline, I think it's going to be full range.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of Tourmaline in the last battle for Midway, so what you're going to see is just, yeah, like I said, just a lot of big mechs going in there and mashing things up. I like the Caustic Valley drop because like the way it was in the Was it the World Tournament? Yeah, because with the stock mechs, you got to see a lot of matches where, if it was the frickin', god damn it, I can't even think what tournament it was now. Just the way that you had to play the mechs in the stock tournament in Cosmic Valley was just a weird mishmash of frickin' mechs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm completely wrong.
Are you referring to WC 2018? Because that was the stock bet tournament.
Why am I thinking it's stock? No, it had to have been Battle for Midway. That's when the frickin' people were bringing out king crabs and stuff.
Battle for Midway was what, if you're referring to the Mercstar crab deck that we saw at the end of the thing that we actually casted, that at the end of Division C that we casted, yes, that was Battle for Midway, but that wasn't stock. That was just Mercstar putting on a show. They actually tried the same crab deck against EMP, and while it did fail somewhat miserably and somewhat predictably, it was still a lot of fun to watch. It's definitely a team that likes to kind of operate outside the sphere. You know, they like to try and just put on a show, experiment a little bit, you know?
Well, we had a good thing going last night, late into the night, with some mechs that match profiles, or strong arm mechs, you light to an assault or light to heavy. It was actually pretty interesting. Like the, I can't even think, Jenner to... Oh, frick. I am the worst for memory with this stuff. I just played it last night.
Unfortunately, I cannot read your mind, so I can't. I wish I could.
I know I always bring up stuff that never makes sense to anybody else. Like, well, what's that freaking guy talking about? Well, let me tell you, it's not much. But we played like Panthers and Zeuses. Good to get that strong arm side, 3-3-ish. We were actually thinking about holding a tournament. It could be interesting. We'll keep you in the loop.
That would be interesting. I'd be more than happy to cast it. We're waiting on everybody to go green now. And we're going to launch the match now.
Fantastic.
First match, Tourmaline Desert 228 Blackwatch versus Black Omen. Black Omen being a conglomerate of basically old school CSJ, JGX, Eon 228 Wild Ones pilots. They've definitely shown a lot. Their first match against Imperial was a very good match. They laid waste to CXF, which was a Div B team, obviously. But even though CXF did try their best to put up a fight, Black Omen still came, didn't lose a single drop, barely lost any mechs against them. We're going to see how they perform against 228 Blackwatch. And I can't wait. I want to see if Black Omen is going to kind of muscle through and take that first place spot in the division.
Well, it's always funny because I was hoping that we always had a chance to pull up an exhibition match between Eon and EMP in this tournament, or in any of the fan-made tournaments, and then Black Omen showed up. I'm like, you know what? This is like the best of the best Oceanic players in the North American server. Like, that's what I want to see.
And now, looking into the builds, 228 Blackwatch, it looks like they're bringing a combination of PPCs and lasers. Panic Button, Small Pulse Laser Flea, Matt 3049, bringing the Quad LB10 Fafnir. That's going to be a heavy-hitting mech, but it is shaped like a giant brick on legs, so it's going to be easy to shoot. Admiral Korean Jesus also following up with a Quad LB10 Fafnir, taking up positions behind the Tourmaline. Todok also taking stock. Quad LB10 Fafnir with ER medium lasers. Gilakuda, ER PPC Summoner. So bringing a combination of a bit of DACA along with some range. And then you have on Black Omen's side ER large lasers from the Annihilator, and it looks like it's going to be mainly laser and PPC trade coming in from Black Omen. Krasnopesky, Ultra AC5s on his blood ass, not bringing a light, so he's filling the DACA role. Pasha, ER large lasers and his Annihilator. Trades have already kind of begun with laser DACA advantage kind of going to Black Omen a little early as they put some serious damage down on one last bot.
Yeah, this is one of the positions where teams love to fight on before, was that hill between Theta and Gamma on that corner, but you can see 228 Blackwatch is not taking the bait this time. So it'll be interesting what they want to do at this point.
I think what 228 wants to do is that they want to wait for Black Omen to push in, so that way the superior DPS of their LB10s can be felt. It looks like that 228 is just kind of using the range to bait Black Omen to move in a bit quicker. You see the Fafnirs by Admiral Korean Jesus, Todok, and Matt aren't even moving. UAVs are up. It doesn't look like Black Omen has any UAVs up on their side, so they really can't see these Fafnirs from 228, although 228 might be able to see them. Another UAV's up from Admiral Korean Jesus, it looks like. He's the one that put that up. Pasha taking some big hits from an airstrike. Worm God not taking so many big hits, but still they're at 90%. GZ at 96% with gray armor. That's a little odd.
Yeah, I thought it was odd when I seen it too. Oh, he's almost headshot. Or he was headshot,
yes.
but not. Interesting. Someone got a lucky shot on that one.
praise RNGesus or praise the max head armor Jay-Z puts on his mech. Either way, he's still in the fight, even though one more plop to that head and it's not going to be looking good for his pilot. He's going to be saying, sayonara, suckers, I'm ejecting from. And right now, we still have the basically 228 and Black Omen making a standstill, and 228 is committed to hiding these Fafners, and it's kind of dangerous since they're down on caps and they're ceding map control. They're banking on winning the brawl and just taking the caps later, which is an interesting strategy, but it looks like Black Omen's not going to buy it at all, as they're withdrawing their heavy body from the stage near Theta and pulling farther and farther away from the LBX mechs, which is kind of a bit of a predicament since those LB10s, even though they have a lot of range, they're like shotgun pellets. They're not going to be doing a lot of damage at extreme ranges. And it looks like Dario, to try and speed the game up, is going to try and cap Kappa, and that might be to his detriment since Panic Button is supported by Dom925, who isn't showing himself very intelligently moving behind the tourmaline.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. Like, you can see they're starting to lose on caps pretty quick here, and that might add up quicker than they want, as well as like with the Annihilars moving back. No one has a really good sight line on them as well. I think Gillicuda had eyes on them before, but kind of moved around and lost eyes, so they kind of are wasting time here. One last bite, and Adam Archon, we're kind of sitting back too, so it'd be interesting to see. They might be in a pickle here the further this goes.
And they are in a pickle because right now Dario is capping Kappa. Dom is going to try and respond in his linebacker to shove the flea off. Any ambush attempt that Panic and Dom might have been thinking kind of fell apart. Panic Button's going to circle around the Sigma and back cap Black Omen. But right now the caps aren't exactly in their favor because Epsilon and Theta are pretty much locked down. And while Black Omen doesn't have any eyes on Kappa and Sigma, it's going to be a little bit interesting because the heavy body from 228 is taking quite a bit of damage, so they won't be able to support any attempts to try and force any issues off Kappa. But they really don't have to because they have the linebacker that's roaming around with the flea, but the linebacker might not have enough speed to keep up with Dario's flea. It's just going to be interesting. A lot's going to come down to that linebacker. This match is somewhat on Dom's shoulders. He's definitely going to have to do a lot of things in order to make this match happen, and now it looks like Panic Button is going to be getting a visitor of his own. Gojil and the Wolfhound visiting him at 6.
Yeah, I've been watching Dom and Dario here, as Dario looks like he's going to get out of there because it's a bit risky fighting that linebacker, but you got to try and keep the caps, so.
Right now, Pasha just trading conservatively. Jay-Z, Kondo in the Annihilators. Kudos to 228, though. They are holding on to this whole let's wait for the range to push in and then ambush them with the Fafnir strategy. Admiral Korean Jesus, Todok, and Matt might have been scouted. I'm not sure where the damage from Admiral Korean Jesus came from. Judging by how it spread, I would say it might have been from a strike and that they might not have necessarily been seen. Yes, much of that damage is kind of in their arms and spread around a little bit, so I'm not sure if Black Omen knows if those Fafners are there. They may very well know that those Fafners are there, and that's why they aren't moving. And if they do, it's kind of 228's fault that they aren't doing anything with them. Right now, however, we do have a bit of a fight at Sigma. Panic Button is taking a little bit of chip damage from a combination of Gojil and Dario. Gojil backing up Dario as he tries to recap Sigma, bring it back into the fold, and right now 228 is just bleeding tickets. This is not looking favorable for 228, as right now the 3-cap advantage goes to Black Omen, and we're entering the 500 ticket territory, which is almost a point of no return for a team that has a 3-cap.
Yeah, it's a bit risky at this point, and it looks like they are about to push out as they have.
Yep, there they go. The Fafners are on the move. Right now, Matt taking some serious damage. Admiral Korean Jesus, however, is almost completely dead at this point. 29% gets dropped by Lermgod. Fafners are trying to clear the way, backed up by the dock of range of 228, but they're just eating way too much damage. Those Fafners are too easy to kill. That 309 bites the bullet. Todok about to follow soon. Yep, he's down. And Gillicuda just trying to get some range out. That's 3 assaults for 228. Eating it, and right now Krasnopesky down 39%, but he's trying to duck out of the fight, but it really doesn't matter since a lot of the range on Black Omen is still up. Lerm got at 38%, but it's a manageable 38%, mainly because he's still got most of his weapons, and the side with ZR large lasers isn't even open. Black Omen is continuing to push. Without the 3 Fafners, it looks like that they're just going to roll over 228. There's really not much they can do to stop this movement. There's just not enough mechs, and it looks like that Black Omen is just going to try and clean it up. Gillicuda intelligently running away, but it's not going to be enough. I think this match is going to solidly go into Black Omen. They have the cap advantage and they have the mech advantage.
Yeah, at that point, with having no decent eyes on how they're lined up, they just walked into a golden firing line by Black Omen. There was nothing you could do.
I think it might have been even more that they realized that once the Fafners were kind of scouted and that basically Black Omen wasn't going to take the bait, that it was over. Archon Adam Steiner also eats it. Very quick kill for Black Omen, good coordinating fire, and now they're just kind of rolling in and finishing the match. And 228 doesn't even have a cap lead. They were kind of banking on Black Omen pushing in and getting destroyed by the Fafners, but Black Omen intelligently did not fall for that ambush, and it looks like that this match is definitely going to go to Black Omen. I can't see a way for Dom or Panic Button to pull this out as skilled as they've shown.
No, not with that cap lead.
Yeah, and not with that cap lead. It's 100 points. It's a 3 cap, so it's going to be 33 seconds until game over. So essentially, Dom and Panic Button are going to have 33 seconds to kill 8 mechs. Let me tell you something, Belmont. Can you kill 8 mechs in 33 seconds? Because I can't.
You can or can't?
I can't. I don't. Maybe if I had like a piranha and they were all open, then I could.
I mean, they don't call me the Mech Slayer for nothing, but unless they're all red chested and I'm in a piranha, like you said, there's not a lot of chance. So.
I'd put some money on you for that. We'd see what would happen. I trust that Mech Slayer epithet, but right now it looks like Dom's going to eat it. His linebacker's trying to dance around the point to find cover. Dario Gojil coordinating very well, alternating fire on him. Dom dodged the strike a little bit. He still ate a lot of damage from that artillery shell that landed right on his face. Took a splooge of artillery damage there, and the match goes to Black Omen. Very well played first match, highly disciplined.
Yeah, definitely a good 6-2 win for Black Omen. Smart play by 228 at the start, had they played it like the normal ways that they played this map with that push over, but it just didn't go that way.
Looking at the damage totals, Gillicuda 1 less and Arkham Adam Steiner were definitely doing work in the trade game considering the people they were trading against. But in the end, the Fafners just could not get it done. Toadok the Potato Hunter and Matt3049 only doing a combined about 500 damage, which is less than Gillicuda did in his summoner for the entire game. Admiral Korean Jesus doing 131, i.e. Mikado Soul. He just got sunk very quickly. Dom and Panic Button didn't really do anything, but they were the cap mech, so that's kind of expected. Meanwhile, Lizzie pulling out an amazing 800 damage. Jay-Z following up 713. Very good numbers on their side. Lermgod and Posh also did well. Krasnopesky was the center of attention for those drops, which isn't good. It's something that he needs to pay attention to more, but even still, he was live and he tanked very well. 155 damage, but it was a hard-earned 155 damage as the main target of focus for 228, I believe. And then Dario leading the way with doing the least amount of damage on the team at 83. Gojil 155, but once again, those are cap mechs, so you really can't expect them to do.
Trying to get these stats up in there. There we go. Let me holler at these to you. Yeah, not a lot of team damage in this one either, so that was nice. I mean, unless that's, like I said, total drinks managed, then we have Matt 3049 with 14, so looking good. But yeah, not a lot of components destroyed either. They kind of just, when, like I said, when those Fafners pushed over, it was kind of that firing line of destruction where they didn't really have a good chance at all to focus and get mechs out of the way on Black Omen before it was too late.
Yeah, and you know what? Black Omen, like I said, they were extremely disciplined. I think 228 was just trying to bait Black Omen in to lure them into kind of an ambush, draw their range close enough to where the Fafners could really just completely bowl over them with their LB-10s. But not JTX, Black Omen never saw the bait. You know, Black Omen skillfully pulled away, pulled back to CSJ Hill, their main trading spot, before they started moving up, and just managed to keep their eye on the prize, which is, you know, maintain cap control. I feel like if 228 might have had a little more concentration in their faster mechs, maybe if they swapped out a Fafnir for a linebacker, maybe play around with a couple more agile mechs to try and assume cap control, and took a more active attempt in trying trying to move the cat game, maybe go to Sigma a little faster, that this strategy could have worked. In the end, 228 just didn't do enough in the map control area, the trading phase, to force Black Omen to push. I think they kind of just assumed that Black Omen would just take the bait, go in, as most teams would expect to do. But Black Omen, they're a top-level team. These are top-level players. They're not going to fall for something like that unless there's a reason to fall for something like that, and 2-2 didn't give them one.
Yeah, I mean, you look at those numbers between Gilakuda, One Last Bite, and Adam Archon, and they were all running Overwatch, and they basically all broke 500. And that's, in the decent shape that they were for most of that match, like, that's putting in good work. It just sucked that they never got to really use the Fafnirs in that strategy. It just never came to fruition for them, which is kind of... You wanted it to happen, because that would have been a nice brawl between the Annihilators and the Fafnirs, but, I mean, like I said, Black Omen knew to hold back, because they obviously weren't cresting, so there was a reason why. So play the right strategy, take the cap lead, make them push out, and work perfect.
Oh man, you know what? Seeing T2A do that, it kind of reminds me of kind of a really old tournament. I'm not sure if you were playing around for that time, but really, really old vets will remember this. Swords of Katares versus Lords, the original Lords team before Imperial was a thing. Swords of Katares, they had an idea of what they wanted to do. They wanted to take a bunch of AC-20 Jaeger mechs and just hide in a tunnel during PGI's first sponsored tournament. And they practiced that and practiced that and practiced that. And it just did not work because Lords just didn't take the bait. So in the end, basically Swords of Katares had to operate from an inferior position to make the game work, and it just didn't happen. And it looks like that 228 unfortunately was in a similar position. Now, admittedly, 228 tried. Swords of Katares didn't. Like, 228 tried to remold their strategy into a bit of a push into Black Omen's firing line. Maybe if they did it a little earlier when Black Omen was closer, it would have worked more. But I do kudos to 228 for at least trying to stick to their strategy. Admittedly, those Fafnirs can just pump out damage like crazy. Just pump it out like a factory. So if the mechs from Black Omen got close enough, it would have been over, but they didn't. And that's all she...
Yeah, the cooldown between the Fafnirs between shots is definitely a perfect for shoot, twist back, and shoot again. It's just a golden mech for that type of situation. But, again, never got to use it. Kind of disappointing, but they still, I mean, you got to give them credit. They pushed out when they had to, and with no real eyes on what they were going into, it just didn't go well for them. Because I was thinking, why didn't they get better? Try to get Overwatch and go out the other way so they would be fighting them on a line, not in a round profile of destruction. But it is what it is. They were kind of in a losing position. It might have made no difference. Even if they had matched it 5-5 kills, the tickets at that point were, probably 450 to 250? Like, that's still a huge advantage for Black Omen.
You know what? Thinking about it, you actually bring up an interesting point. Maybe they should have tried to push stage. Like, considering the fact that they had to push, that push was pretty disjointed. Like, it was essentially just a Congo line, mechs dying one after another. Thinking about it, Matt 3049 didn't even start taking fire at least until 5-10 seconds, and by then Admiral Korean Jesus had already eaten loads of damage that he couldn't twist off because, Fafnir's a walking center torso.
Yeah.
That's about it to it. But, it felt like that push definitely could have been done much better. Like, T2A, they just kind of pushed into a Congo line. Kudos to their range. They were trying to spread out into a concave. Gilakuda was moving around stage on Tourmaline, which is that high Echo 5 area that sits over Theta, the Tourmalines that kind of surround Theta over that giant Tourmaline that overlooks it. Gilakuda was maneuvering around on that to try and get different angles, so props to him. Archon Adam Steiner was still doing damage, but the Fafnirs, Admiral Korean Jesus and Matt, they just kind of did this predictable lumber out from their hidey hole, and it made it so much easier to shoot them. So I think I think you have an amazing point. I think 228 kind of blundered there. They could have.
I mean, well,
not much better.
Let's pull up the map strat and take a look at that then, which I can actually put up. Oh my god, why? There we go. Because I would like to paste and go. Is that what happened?
I don't think this is what happened at all, and unfortunately I can't erase this for some reason, which is sad. Okay, I'm starting to erase a couple things. There we go. Get rid of that. We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need this. I can't touch those lines. Okay. All right, that's you. So just to simulate what happened, basically, CSJ, they kind of pushed up to this area right here, and then they just kind of set up as a unit over here, not taking the bait from the fact that the Fafners were over here. Now, I think what you were touching on, and this is interesting, is that maybe if the Fafners kind of pushed separately, independently, as one unit over this stage area, by the way, this is stage for the viewers that aren't familiar with the terminology, if 228s split their Fafners a little bit and pushed as a unit, set over this stage area like that, I think that it probably could have went much better to try and kill the traders from Black Omen over here, especially since they weren't exactly expecting a mech to come from here. Their eyes were specifically trained on this area. But even still, I
think it would have made a little bit of difference.
The Fafners just didn't get any.
I mean, the problem was the guys in the back weren't close enough to help them do work. I mean, they were still there doing the range work, but they're not soaking up a little bit of the armor with them as well. But I think that double push on the stage or closer to Theta, just going down that ramp, might have made a little bit of a difference. Maybe 1-2 kills before they all died, but 1 or 2 still would have, looked a little bit better. But like I said, it was up in the air from the get-go. So, and I mean, we got 1 team right locked, now, so we are looking almost pretty good to rock and roll here.
Well, I just want to say that, overall, basically 228 had a bad hand, and they didn't play it as well as they could have. But it looks like the teams are going to be ready. Panic button, Kraz saying everybody looks good, so let's get into the drop. Domination, Caustic Valley. I did set it today. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Domination, 15 minutes. We are good to go.
Well, I mean, when you play against pretty much some of the best Oceanic players, you're bound to have a rough go on one of the drops. So, I mean, if 228 shook off the cobwebbing on that one, we will see some
improvement. It's worth noting that, I mean, EMP is beating Black Omen, 228 is beating EMP, Black Omen seems to be beating 228. It's the triangle of life, essentially. I mean, make no mistake, EMP is still in the top position, but right now 228 definitely has a chance to them, and it's just one match. And 228 can definitely show some interesting stuff on their arsenal, and the fact that they were willing to experiment with kind of a Fafnir ambush, using the Fafnirs as superior DPS, definitely shows that they're thinking outside the box, and that can definitely help them take this division. I'm actually fairly confident because it's kind of showing the more imaginative strategies that 228 are employing at work. If 228 did better in trying to get a cap lead, I have a feeling that they could have taken that drop away.
Yeah, no, it's definitely possible.
Yeah, looking into the mech build, sorry, Belmont, but I just want to read these off. Dario, small pulse lasers, Lizzie, medium pulse lasers, machine guns, and his linebacker. And it looks like we kind of have a bit of a hit squad going on. Gojil running the Assassin, Blaketown running the Arctic Wolf. So we got SRMs, lasers, and it looks like a bit of speed brawl going on for Black Omen. Meanwhile, 228 looks like they are bringing a bit more of a conventional deck, but just for reference, I need to see this personally. Well, yeah. Scrolling through them right
with
now.
With 3 Piranha Bills on the 228 side.
And right now, it looks like that they are going a bit more conventional. Actually, 228 is a little unconventional in their conventionality. The Thanatoses are armed with 2 Gauss rifles and stealth armor. What is this? This is interesting. Thanatoses with stealth armor. What is going on? I think they're going to try and employ a similar strategy that Mercstar employed last season, and a strategy that kind of used to be very popular, except they're going the extra mile. These Thanatoses with stealth armor are going to be hard to pin down if they're able to constantly move and shoot with their Gauss rifles.
Yeah, you got that right for sure. It's going to be an interesting one here, because they got to stay in the circle and keep those long-range mechs in range to do damage. So,
and this is kind of what I was referring to. The fact that 228 is very imaginative. They're very experimental. They're willing to think outside the box. I'm very interested in seeing how this works. I mean, Mercstar did this fairly well against EMP. Almost won the match with this kind of strategy. This strategy has been very successful in the past. EMP, 228, Swords of Kentaras, Antara Scorpions teams. Well, not Swords of Kentaras, I'm sorry. They were gone before this match was even started. Antara Scorpions is what I was referring to. Many teams tried this strategy of setting up basically on on these high hills for Team 1, and then just having a couple lights sit in circle to lure Team 2 in, so that way they could be within range for a steady brawl. And the pinpoint front-loaded damage of the Thanatos is definitely going to be a huge issue. If they can land their shots on the assassins, they could essentially take a leg off in one alpha from each Thanatos. And if there's one team that has the coordination to do that, it's definitely 228.
I just feel like with the Thanatos and where they are, they're in a low spot compared to the center. I mean, how much... You can see the top of the spire for the domination circle there, but I don't think you get a lot of low ground inside or the opposite side of the circle there. So I don't know what the... Unless they're trying to bait them across, which, I mean, hey, if their game is to bait Black Omen out, I mean, if you know it's going to work. But it didn't work round 1. I would not have expected it to work again in round 2.
Well, this is a little different because 228 can kind of get the domination circle back even, whereas in Conquest it's much harder to kind of stop the cap. In Domination, this kind of strategy can be a bit more effective, assuming that 228 be a little aggressive on attacking, say, the beta and alpha generators to make sure that the point spread stays even, and then they could attempt to draw it out, or Black Omen could draw it out. The onus is definitely on Black Omen to make moves. They've taken some strike damage early, Gojil at 95 and Pasha at 96, but it's definitely only chip damage, and it's going to be interesting to see how these Thanatoses are kind of employed. This is a little bit more of an unconventional spread for 228 actually. Normally, you'd see a heavy where Nita Pickle in this Piranha 3 is stationed, but right now it looks like One Last Bite, Admiral, Korean Jesus, i.e. Mikado Soul, Oblivion SK, they're spread on kind of the left side of the map, which is something you really don't see from this kind of strategy. It looks like they're trying to egress to get those lines.
Well, yeah, like you said, this is a very, very long-range deck / finish mech with all the Piranha 3s as compared to Black Omen with basically the Brawl deck that came extremely prepared with those Arctic Wolves, Assassins, and Linebackers, so it's just really flip mode into what you would have thought this match was going to go like. You can see Gillicuda here he's trying to get good eyes on that far side of what they're trying to do, which isn't a bad idea. Because like I said, if he can start baiting them out into the firing lines that 228 has created on those far ridges towards Alpha, I mean, they might have a good option here. And it does look like Black Omen is starting to mosey their way around. Or it's just the red triangles just moving around on my screen.
Well, right now, Pasha and Lizzie are trying to set up on that left side to try and see what's going on. They see the Piranhas from Dom and Nita Pickle, who are trying to essentially just get scouting information, with the bulk of the Thanatos is still staying on the left side of the map, continuing to egress to get lines. So it's essentially a game of cat and mouse. Not necessarily NASCAR, since neither team is actually trying to get aggressive to push. Right now, Black Omen and 228 are just fighting for superior position to see who gets who first. I'm pretty sure that Black Omen might have gotten whiff of a Thanatos, but with that stealth armor, they probably didn't get a lock on it. And interestingly enough, if you look at the paint scheme of these Thanatoses, Oblivion SK's Thanatos kind of has the same colors as the other areas on Caustic. Admiral, Korean Jesus is running a gray Thanatos, and then after that you see the other Thanatoses, they're all kind of running a gray kind of paint scheme. So 228 is all in on trying to shade these Thanatos.
Gotta blend them in.
Camouflage.
Yeah,
like they're trying to be Carlos friggin' Hathcock or something over here, you know? Like, I want to see where this goes.
I did do that in the World
trades
Tournament.
Going down on Posh. I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. What'd you say? I interrupted you. I apologize.
Ooh, as in Last Bite might be taking a strike right here. I mean, I did do that, and I tried to get the rest of my team to do that with D4 in the World Tournament when we played a lot of Canyon Network. It was like, why don't you just paint your mechs the color of the frickin' Canyon Network? It made sense, right? If you're going to be there, you might as well try and blend in. But I know...
Well, it definitely makes sense with stealth armor, too.
Yeah, I remember seeing one of the things with... you know who I'm talking about, The Beef. He played one match, and I believe a Pirate's Bane, and he basically modroed or black painted it out so that it matched all of HPG, and he literally just had mechs walking right by him. It was this stealth armor. It was the craziest thing to see.
Well, right now, this is a crazy thing to see. Normally, caustic matches would be solved quickly, whether it's by heavy direct fire, whether it's by a push, or, I mean, if Lerms were allowed, we'd see those too, but they're not. But either way, it's just a match of jockeying for position. This might seem boring to the viewer, but I actually really enjoy these kinds of maps because it definitely shows the professionalism of these two units and their discipline. Neither side is baiting. 228 is sticking to their strategy of using the stealth armor Thanatoses to get as much range against Black Omen as possible. And meanwhile, Black Omen isn't trying to take the bait and push into the lights to try and force them out of the circle. Even though it's tied, it seems like Black Omen's willing to accept a draw rather than try and lose because they recognize that they're in prime position to take first place away from Imperial, and Blackwatch is too. So you have one side which is kind of throwing its chips on the table, playing a big risk using an unconventional deck, and then you have on the other side a team that's playing very smart, very conservative to try and make sure that they don't lose any momentum that they've already gained from the match they won previously to make any serious mistakes.
Yeah, and I don't know, because like you said, any advantage you could probably push with this deck, and still you probably could wipe out 228 with how much DPS could come from Black Omen's side. But then again, you've watched teams cross into the far sides out of the Caldera in games like this, and you watch them get destroyed, so it could go wrong for them. So it's like the risk is there, and any Div B, Div C team, even Div D would probably make the push because the waiting game is the hardest thing. Holding position and being like, I don't think we gain anything from going, and I don't think we gain anything from staying, but it is even, so you take it as it is.
And you know what? Props to these lights, Matt3049, Dom, Panic Button, they're still getting the scouting information. 228, seeing how they're moving, they know exactly where Black Omen's team is at all times. Also, props to Nita Pickle, and also props to Gilakuda, who's getting some shots down on Lizzie, trying to get some chip damage in. But just this Light Lance is doing an amazing job avoiding damage, not taking stupid peeks, yet getting all the scouting information they need. This is what you expect your lights to do. This is prime light play right here, and it's kind of paying off since Gilakuda is getting some beautiful shots on Lizzie and Navid. Navid down 88%, Lizzie taking a little bit of chip damage, but this is kind of what the Thanatoses were hoping for, to get some damage down to try and force Black Omen into a move that they don't want to be in.
Yeah, Dogmeat just getting 2% hit by that strike that just went over from, I would assume, Gilakuda or Nita Pickles. So, like I said, if everyone's got strikes, they can do a little bit of damage off the top to try to change things. But, like I said, I don't think either team's going to make a push here, which is basically a good move on both sides.
And Black Omen is kind of enforcing their discipline. You saw that Gojil was trying to do a flank on the Thanatoses, but after seeing Nita Pickle, and I'm guessing after Lizzie identifying where Nita Pickle was, he kind of called his boy to be like, yo, get out. We don't need you to take any necessary damage. We don't need you to be a hero right now. We're up one drop. Even though 228 is doing very well, the onus is on them to kind of make plays in this map. Hence, Gilakuda being a little dicey with this flank, trying to get position as much as possible. Admiral Korean Jesus is also trying to fan out, but really 228 kind of needs to be a bit more assertive in their pokes. Admiral Korean Jesus, maybe if you could find a way to get a little more range from the hill, but to try and make some pokes happen. And it looks like they are actually. Pasha down 78% right now. That's more of what 228 needs.
Oh yeah, Admiral Korean Jesus just hitting the footsteps on this one, getting the heck out of there, even dropping a UAV just in case the lights were coming close. Worried about something. But like you said, like the lights are very active, barely staying in the same place.
Oh boy, look at Oblivion. He is right on that circle. And even though he is not that close, oh my goodness. If Black Omen sees where he is, he's going to be the first Thanatos that gets dropped. He is being very dicey. Panic Button, Matt, Dom, and Nita Pickle are all kind of circling around his position, trying to make sure that Oblivion is like the swimmer that's kind of getting circled by the sharks. They need to make sure the sharks don't eat him. It's just like, this is extremely dicey by Oblivion. If Black Omen sees that he's vulnerable, and if the lights leave his position at any moment, Oblivion's going to melt under the pain of this brawl.
Yeah, another strike that hit Pasha there. Like, good moves, good strikes on 228's side. But yeah, like I said, Oblivion is kind of in a bad position. I think he realizes
it looks like, here we go. Black Omen starting to make the move. Here comes the push. Krasnopesky at the front, 74%, being eaten alive by the AC2s on one last bite. Admiral Korean Jesus, they saw that basically Oblivion was out of position. They're starting to push. Navid Gojul starting to jump on Admiral Korean Jesus. One last bite, taking 71% damage. Pasta also down to 62. So right now, the meat and potatoes of Black Omen are taking a lot of hits, but one last bite is starting to melt, and it looks like that Admiral Korean Jesus is caught in two. Two quick kills are probably going to come in right now for Black Omen. One last bite aided Admiral Korean Jesus is going to follow soon, 33%, and he's going to go down. Oh my goodness, this was not good. Oblivion SK in an attempt to jockey for position gave Black Omen the opening he needed, but it's not like 228's just going to lie down and die. Gilakuda gets a kill on Lizzie, and even though percentages aren't favoring Black Omen, they're still up a mech.
Yeah, now with them running into the center, a lot of them are hurt, so like Kraz and Pasha could go down quickly with those piranhas. Still
Dario already went down. Dario already went down. Nita Pickle, however, looks like he might be legged. He's not in a good position. Matt trying to get the legs on Dogmeat, and here is a massive brawl. Gilakuda trying to get up top to Oblivion gets killed, so there's essentially only one Thanatos left, but right now the mech advantage looks like it's not great. Black Omen managed to drop the mechs they needed, and a very well-coordinated brawl push by Black Omen. They kind of saw that Oblivion was too far away. That was one Thanatos that was desperately needed to lay down the DPS necessary to stop any attempt by a push, and they did it. And 3 cheers to Black Omen. Very well-coordinated push on their part.
Yeah, and definitely legging the guys was definitely a good idea, too.
Matt 3049 down to 43%, and he's going to go down, and that's going to be game. Black Omen 2-zip against 2-2.
Yeah, I mean, and look at those mechs. Kras and Pasha at 51 and 33%. Even Dogmeat at 51%. Like, there's a lot of hurt mechs on that team had they kept the one Piranha. Because Nita Pickle was okay until he got legged. But the other one, which was Dom or Panic, whichever one was gone first. Had they stayed alive, they probably could have did a lot more work. Yeah, Blaketown from Eisen taking that 620 damage. Like, that is a nice set right there.
Leading the way in his Arctic Wolf. Those SRMs are nasty. 361, 356, and 322 from Gojul, Navid, and Dogmeat. The Assassin hit squad with the Arctic Wolf doing the lion's share of the work. Lizzie and Dario took way too much damage early on and kind of got focused and killed. Pasha and Krasnopesky, however, did some work in their linebackers. The Thanatoses, however, mixed results. Oblivion, in an attempt to reposition, was out of position for the main brawl, only doing 125. Admiral Korean Jesus 404, Gilakuda 381. Panic Button doing 189, 218, 177 for Matt and Dom, respectively. Nita Pick only doing 83. He contributed a lot with his scouting information, though.
Oh, definitely.
And that's what that really mattered. But it turns out that it really didn't matter. Like, unfortunately, the fight happened, and unfortunately, the lion's share of 2's DPS was out of that brawl.
Yeah. No, it definitely was. Like you said, they didn't have the DPS to begin with compared to what Black Omen had, but yeah, I mean, you look at yeah, just look at those numbers. Yeah, Kras 33, 51, 51, 53, 65. Navid being the only one with 74 in that Assassin. But yes,
and one thing I'd like to say that people are probably complaining that this is a passive gameplay. What I mean by kind of professional, disciplined gameplay is when all your team is trading. When you're looking at pub matches, it's very, very different. There's not that much urgency. There's not much on the line. Some people are playing for fun. Other people are playing for competition. And so at the end of the day, that's what I refer to by professionalism and discipline. It's definitely a different format compared to pug matches, where in pug matches, everybody's kind of out for themselves. There's not a lot of coordination. This is different. These teams, they're all on comms together. They all recognize and there's stakes to this. So that's what I'm kind of referring to when I say discipline. They all recognize that they have a strategy and they have to abide by it. And that's how JGX was playing it. However, JGX realized that they needed to get a kill, and that's exactly what happened. They saw that Oblivion SK was very much out of position. Got to give him credit. He was trying to make a play, but in the end it didn't work because he was nowhere near the fight when it happened. And because the lights were so adamant in protecting Oblivion's position, they definitely got a little bit of tunnel vision. And JGX saw that, pushed over, and killed the main body of Thanatos.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, Oblivion was kind of worried about getting rushed there, so he beat Bush. But when they pushed onto Admiral Korean Jesus and one last bite, he was still way too out of position to come back and firing down range to make it worthwhile. But I mean, if you look at you look at the components destroyed for Black Omen as well. They got a lot of nice numbers there with 3, 6, 9, 3, 1, 3, and 2. Whereas, like I said, Gilakuda got 4, and then it's 1, 3, and 1, 1 split between Matt and the other guys. Like those SRMs did put in a lot of work when they started to get down to business.
And you know what? Looking at the replay, I love the way that Black Omen pushed. Krasnopesky, Lizzie, they were kind of the weaker mix, so they didn't lead. They kind of shaded back as the push was happening. They let Blaketown and Navid do the brunt of the fighting in that original push, which shows a lot of coordination. And 228 on the other side, they didn't really do a lot of focus fire. It definitely felt like they were kind of in deer in the headlights mode, as they didn't really expect Black Omen to push when they did. Black Omen, however, amazing game awareness. They saw that they had an opportunity when Oblivion SK kind of moved up to the center ring of Caustic. They saw that he was out of position. There were plenty of Caustic rocks blocking his shots so that when the push actually happened, he wouldn't be there, and the lights trying to shade for him to make sure that Oblivion didn't get picked. It definitely felt like 228 was a little too worried about Oblivion getting picked and weren't worried enough about their team. It's very hard to critique that because, from a comp player, you want to protect Oblivion, you need to make a play, and you need to try and force him out of position. But at the same time, you have to have some of your lights back with the main body. All of their lights were way too focused on protecting Oblivion, and that caused a serious tunnel vision to form so that they completely ignored the idea that Black Omen would just push their stuff in. And it paid them dearly, Matt Panic Button. It felt like it wasn't the right call to stay with Oblivion. They should have shifted over a little more to their main body. The way their protection kind of worked was that the lights were protecting away from the main body side. They were kind of shifting around the flanks, trying to get a bit too cheeky with their own light positioning rather than worrying about the main body, which was the crux of their attempt to win.
Well, I don't know if the fire line was tight enough for them to get back in to help enough, you know what I mean? Because, in reality, Admiral, Korean Jesus, and One Last Bite, we're still a decent distance away from the next Thanatos, not only Oblivion, but Gilakuda. They were still quite a ways away, so for everyone to group up and kind of support them as they got rushed, I don't think they had the time. I don't think they had the... Because, I can't remember. I wasn't paying attention because I was watching Admiral and Bite. I don't know who was still in the circle on Black Omen's side, but I don't think there was enough. I think it was too late, basically. It's the easiest way to put it. We'll say that. So, we'll see what happens in Drop 2 here, because, now there's no Assassins. Now there's no Thanatos. No linebackers.
That was a very good way. No Assassins and Thanatos and linebackers for Black Omen are the ones with the training side now. They're the one with the side with those 3 hills, so they might, they might try a similar strategy that 228 did. They might try to play a little bit of range, might use some Pop-Tart summoners, they might mix some range and brawl in there. Who knows? Might even see an Executioner for all we know at this point. There's definitely there's quite a few ways to play Caustic, and we don't exactly know what's going on in the mind of Black Omen. I remember in an interview, Krasnopesky said that their team was still trying to synergize, and it was a little disjointed with the team having to come up with strategies on the fly, not exactly favorable for a team that's trying to fight first place. I know that 228 and EMP do a lot of prep before their matches normally, but so I'm not exactly sure what they have in store for Drop 3. They're kind of a mystery in this, and I'm not necessarily sure if it's because of meticulous planning, if it's just so much that they don't know what their team wants to do. They have a mix of pilots, all of them extremely skilled, all of them with different skill sets, but also many of them with different ideas on how they want to execute wins and matches.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see how the strategies work on the Black Omen side, because like you said, they got D5, they got JGX, they got 228, they got Dario. I don't know who Dario plays for, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm sorry, buddy. And like I said, the Oceanic side of things, they already play different, but now you have guys who played with other teams and have done well. Like D5, great team. 228, Oceanic, great team. JGX, 3rd place this year. how would you develop strategies between those three teams when it's like, yeah, they've all ran different strategies? It would let it, unless it's the fact that you have that many different strategies you have done and worked well with, you now can find the best one, and it actually comes out a lot easier because, like, in these three strategy bases that have worked for all of us, this is what we believe to be the best one. Instead of, you know, being the guy like, no, I don't. This is the one we're going to use. Everyone comes down to it like, you know what, that worked and actually that one sounds like the best. It makes the most sense for any situation. That's what we're going to use. It probably works out that much better.
Yeah, I mean, and credit to Black Omen, even though they're figuring out these strategies on the fly, they're still executing them fairly well, and it's still, you know, they're still winning games, even though, like, apparently they're coming up with some stuff on the fly, maybe trying to do some planning later. It's just like, I just don't know what to expect from Black Omen, since they're kind of like a conglomerate team. They don't exactly all have a history together playing. I mean, but 228, like, you know, people say they're not trying. I disagree. They're trying. They are trying. I think that they're throwing out a lot of stuff that people don't expect, hoping it sticks. And it's just not working right now because, you know, certain things are happening. Now, if 228 plays these drops maybe a little bit better, then something could change. But I would argue that, you know, they really are trying, and I really like what 228 is kind of doing. I like that they're experimenting, and I like that they're thinking outside the box. Might not be what they're going for. It's not getting them wins yet, but even still, the fact that they're trying to explore the limits of certain maps, it's interesting in my eyes. That's how you win games. That's how you come up with upset wins. Like, you know, the Phoenix Legion win versus RJF or Eon, where they just capped the map out on Tourmaline with Isengrim following in the same suit. It's how you come up with upset wins. And I commend 228. You know, it's an interesting way to play these maps.
Well, and like you say, without this being a team that's normally in competitive for them, maybe they assume none of the strategies against EMP will work, or 228 Swamp Foxes will work. Like, you know, it worked or almost worked against certain teams, and this is a team that comes out of nowhere for them. And it's like, well, maybe we should try something different. Like, see how this different strategy works and just go with it, right?
Mm-hmm. And we'll see what they do next. I'm not exactly sure. I think that 228 might just opt for Speed Brawl. But the interesting thing is that they only sacrifice the Thanatoses. Those aren't actually marquee premier range trading mechs. It's not like they're going to be missed in later drops, you know? Like, there's a lot of options still left on 228 for the table if they want to try range. T2 isn't awful for that. You know, like, there's certain positions you can trade. You can kind of trade at the top of the hills on Caustic. On Team 2's side, you could trade at the edge of the Tourmaline. There's still options on the table outside the Thanatoses. I think the Thanatoses might have just been more of an interesting experiment, trying to play around with the concept of using stealth armor. And I love the camo scheme. You know, like the fact that they practically disguise those mechs, you know, to try and fit a terrain profile, so that way the stealth armor could be used to its fullness. That was really interesting. I loved it. But at the end of the day, you know, unfortunately, it also comes down to the fact that T2A's lights just whiffed on their positioning. They weren't in any area to help assist with the brawl. And Oblivion SK, he was trying way too hard to make something happen, and it caused them to lose.
Yeah. No, it's definitely But like I said, it'd be interesting to see what happens in this drop. Assuming everyone's close to being ready.
I mean, it looks like Belmont that people are complaining about your foot making noise, and you're saying you have to pee? What's going on there? Don't you have a soda bottle at your desk or something? Where's your space diaper?
My space diaper. Yeah, I mean, if I learned anything from undergrads, you bring the diaper to the bar on drinking night. So, I don't know. I'm too jittery. That one was
you know what? You had to come prepared. I'm wearing my diaper, and I'm good to go. I can sit here all night. I've already peed my pants 3 times in this drop because I'm so excited. But you know what? I don't care. That diaper is getting changed after this match.
That's the winning strategy right there. Yeah.
Gotta be prepared. You know what? Like, it's a little smelly. Right now, my cousins in the living room are kind of giving me weird looks, not only because A, I'm talking to myself by giving you guys commentary, but B, I smell very bad. But, you know, it's like, hey, this is the sacrifice.
Yeah.
Right here, the sacrifice, hashtag sacrifice, for people on Twitter. I guess I don't know. I don't frequent Twitter. But anyway, let's get to the drop. See what mix they're bringing out.
Wow, I mean, 228 bringing out some heat-efficient mechs, that's for sure.
Right now, it looks like that. It might be. Yeah, it looks like Black Omen sticking with their guns over here. They're bringing a bit of a DACA push deck. Lizzie, 3 UAC 2s on the Proton Special, Dragon 5N, Lermgod, ACTs, medium lasers on his Jaeger mech, Kondo, 5 ACTs on his Jaeger mech, double Ds. Hopefully he won't do double D damage. Krasnopesky bringing out the Vulcan, something that EMP made, something EMP shown that can really do work on certain maps in their first match against T28. Navid also bringing out a Wolfhound, which is kind of like a Vulcan, except less mobile. Dogmeat also bringing a Vulcan as well. And over at the side of 228, we have Panic Button, Medium Pulse Laser, Wolfhound, Mat 309, Mist Links with loads of machine guns, Dom with medium lasers in his Javelin, One Last Bite machine gun, ER small lasers in his Mist Links, getting into a light where he kind of started his foray into comp, Need a Pickle, medium pulse lasers, and then the rest of 228 bringing long range, going to try this mix of lights and long range once again, and the opening trades were on. And even though some lasers were making contact, it looks like the server said, we're going to prevent any and all damage from happening to these mechs, since everyone is still, interestingly enough, at 100%, except Need a Pickle, who ate some serious strike damage.
Yes, he did, indeed. And he was trying to get out of there quick, too, but just still ran in the line of it, so it's a tough one for him.
Strikes are the bane of a light pilot's life. I swear to Jesus, they are the worst thing ever. But sorry, Jesus, I apologize. Right now, it looks like that 228 once again forming up a similar formation with their lights just cresting the edge of the circle, paying attention to Black Omen's moves. Black Omen kind of sitting back with their range. This is interesting. They're both running similar decks, with 228's range being a lot more extreme in this circumstance. The 228's got those combination of large laser Gauss on their side with Jiffy and Archon Adam Steiner. Jiffy, actually, very interesting. I haven't seen him in comp matches recently. He might have played in them, and I might have just been dumb and not seen him, but he definitely doesn't seem... I don't remember him starting in many matches, so it's going to be interesting to see how he does, see if he can kind of get his feet wet and demonstrate himself. Lermgod taking some pretty big hits from the PPC Gauss of Gilakuda, who's sitting all the way at the back, and it just looks like right now that it's a repeat of the second drop, a jockey for position.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting place to be here. I mean, Kondo bringing my favorite type of Jaeger, as well as Lermgod, was not a bad one. They just want to get in a decent position here where they can start putting fire on somebody. But, like you said, 228 with Gilakuda way in the back, as well as everybody else just peeking in and out, they are not going to have a good chance. Just wait for someone to be in a bad position.
And it looks like they're trying to make a move now. Lizzie Lermgod shifting over to Gilakuda's position. He's also getting already struck like crazy, so Black Omen is definitely aware that he's there. And in that night gear, he's not going to be able to rotate out. Panic Button is the only mech that's there that can potentially help him get out of any sticky situation. And Lermgod and Lizzie are approaching in what seems like a pretty well-orchestrated double envelopment move. Gilakuda is just starting to edge out a little bit from his original spot, but who knows if it'll be enough. Dogmeat, Pasha, all forming up, and it looks like wolves getting ready for the slaughter. They are starting to smell blood, or hyenas, whatever analogy you want to use. They see Gilakuda, who doesn't have that much support, even though One Last Bite and Dom and Nina Pickle are arriving to assist him. Black Omen they took a little too long in the formation of this attempt to push Gilakuda out. Now 228 is responding very well. Kudos to 228. Even though the response was a little bit delayed, it was fast enough to where they kept up with Black Omen, and now it's just a giant conglomeration of mechs, both from 228 and Black Omen.
Lizzie.
And Lizzie self-destructed, trying to get out of bounds to make the flank work, but Pasha kills Gilakuda. So it's a 1-for-1 trade. Lizzie's not going to be happy about that. Hopefully he doesn't smash his keyboard in frustration at that.
Yeah, they were in a good position.
PGI boundary.
Good position, him and Cross there. Just Lizzie went down, so it was a tough one, especially when they both had eyes on Gilakuda. I mean, like I said, it worked out where it's 1-1, it's even, but you didn't want it to go that way, so
the goal for Lizzie to try and challenge PGI's map boundaries. Kudos to him. Got to give him props. Dario and Navid are trading very well against Dom and Panic Button. Panic Button, however, isn't trading well himself, down 81%, not putting out the damage he probably wants to. Krasnopesky, however, takes a huge hit. 71%, 82% from Pasha and Navid. Basically, this is Black Omen just trying to fan out to find whatever angle they can. Lermgod also taking some damage, 63%. Panic Button getting some beef on the back end. Dario, however, sees that these 228 mechs are kind of forming this big bulge, and this isn't what you want. You want your lines to be spread. Black Omen, if they see this, they might try and push it and get more aggressive. They're certainly trying to hit the flank, cut off Panic Button and Dom, and force them back into the caldera.
And I mean, you look at some of the mechs, Kondo at 80%, but he is red, and what is he red with? Oh, torsos, orange and yellow. So he's in a bad position from tanking some face against these guys. But like I said, 228 was kind of rushing after Dario there, and I think they put themselves in a bad position, but it hasn't totally bit them anywhere yet. So.
Well, it is biting them because Jiffy's down 54% after taking some nasty trades against Black Omen's main training, and it seems like Lizzie said he got stuck on the Vulcan. That's why he got out of bounds. So it wasn't necessarily a fight with the boundaries; it was a fight with the Vulcan. Dario going in as Locust against the Javelin 11A, and right now the rest of 228's Light Lance is forming up to make sure that Dom doesn't die. Dom doesn't die. The triple Ds. Anyway, right now the light trades are going on. Pasha looks to be the main target of focus. Navid is also shifting, and right now 228's 4 lights are trying to go up against Black Omen's 3 lights. Their lights are kind of separated. This isn't good. Krasnopesky, Dogmeat, and Lermgod just kind of left them for no reason. If 228 sees this, then they can easily jump on these lights to get an easy kill. And that's exactly what's happening. One last bite, need a pickle. Matt going in. Why did Kraz and their team just leave this light lance? If they get kills, this could be disastrous. It looks like they're trying to go for the long flank. It might work since 228 is a little apprehensive on pushing this. Pasha down 53%. It looks like he's going to die soon, and he does. Good kill by 228. Not good positioning by Black Omen. Dogmeat now the center of focus for 228's lights. They need to start going in and getting more kills, however. They're being a bit too flighty, having a little bit too much happy feet. They need to just be decisive in their movement, which they're not. Navid 41% trying to get some trades to protect Dogmeat as he pulls out. Meanwhile, Dom also making some trades as well. One last bite, and Lermgod doing a 1v1, which one last bite obviously wins. Panic Button kills Navid, and it looks like now that the roll begins, 228 may take this one.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely got in a good position here when Black Watch pushed out in the wrong way and left the mechs there, so we will see. I mean, you can see 228's got a lot of hurt mechs, but they still have 3 in decent, had 3 in decent shape, not anymore.
And it looks like now that the match is going to be over, Kondo's 65%. There's a lot of machine guns on the field, so I don't think he's going to survive this. His Jaeger mech's at 46%. He goes down. Matt goes down from Dogmeat. It's just him clutching it out. Now, Dogmeat is a pretty good light pilot, but I don't think he's good enough to stand up against 228 right now. He is just hurt all over the place. His Vulcan's beat to hell and back pretty much. Dom and Panic Button circling him around. Jiffy lands a beautiful shot. Say hello. Welcome to Comp, Jiffy. Excellent shot to end Dogmeat, and that is a win for 228. 2-1. Good win. However, bad positioning by Black Omen. Very bad. Looking at the match scores right now, JGX 489 from Pasha, Kondo 262, 214 and 242 for Dogmeat and Navid, Dario doing 320, admirable roll, Lizzie 58 damage in the Dragon because he got caught out of bounds. And then looking at 228's Panic Button doing work in his Wolfhound, poking very well at the end, being involved in the brawl. One last bite, however, MVP among the lights at 434. However, can't ignore Archon Adam Steiner and Jiffy. Archon 377, Jiffy 288, Gillicuda 342. He did a lot of damage before he went down, and he went early. Kudos to Gillicuda, man. He held on for a very long time in a very hard position.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let me pull up the stuff. Also, Rick Raw might be worrying about my family making too much noise up the stairs, as well as me kicking other things around my desk. But yeah, I'm looking at these numbers. Matt 30-49 with 78 team damage. That must have been a strike gone wrong. In a mislinks, no less. Interesting how they got that much team damage. But, I mean, sometimes that's the way she goes when you put a strike and it just does not go in the place you wanted it to, so... Oh, hi there, puppy.
Uh-oh, and it looks like that panic button and looks like that 228 is calling for a redrop because they dropped with the wrong hero knight. Interestingly enough, Krasnopesky hasn't said anything about it. We'll wait for some word on that.
They had
which is interesting since he's kind of the main admin. He'll probably be the
the wrong one because they had the Niger, yeah. The one Gilakuda was running.
It says legal from week 4, and this is week 3. So let's see what JGX says. They might re-roll this. Interestingly enough, 228's rule booking themselves after getting a win.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if they came back and said it was no good at the anyway, then you didn't have a chance to rerun it while you were there. It's not a bad idea. Not a bad just be, hey, we screwed up. Sorry, can we just redrop that really quick before we go ahead and it comes back to bite us. one last bite. I never thought about this, but I have to pee. I've been holding it for not very long, but technically in this situation, it's not like a studio where I get to leave it anytime I want, so I'm going to leave right now while we're waiting, and hopefully you find something to tell these good folks about. Like, that's a sweet win by 228 right there.
Well, I mean, it might not be a sweet win by 228 because if they redrop it, then it'll put it 228 in a very interesting position. This was a win they could have walked away with, and sure, they did a lot to secure the win, but Black Omen also did a lot to lose it. So I'm not exactly sure what to think here. I mean, 228, props to them. They're showing a lot of honor, but even still, they should have just taken the win and run. Like, no one in chat's even noticing it either, in all honesty. Oh, but they do. Interesting. Okay. Right now, we're just on a decision from Black Omen. Looks like they are going to redrop it, chat, which is a shame because that was definitely a very solid win from 228. However, they definitely benefited from some of the mistakes that Black Omen made, which is a little unfortunate. Blackman, unfortunately, we can't go to the map since Belmont kind of has control over that, but during the push, Krasnopesky and the rest of Black Omen's heavier team kind of just left the 3 lights of Black Omen to fend for themselves against 228's numerically superior 4 lights, and that caused basically a roll to happen. It put Black Omen's lights in a very unfavorable position. 228 just pushed on them and rolled through them with superior numbers and superior firepower. And it was definitely a blunder on Black Omen's side, a huge blunder on their side because they just left the lights to die. Now, maybe they saw that and saw that it was going to be a redrop, but even still, just not favorable. It's not something you look for in those situations. Just messaging the teams right now to let them know when they're ready to drop. 228 bringing in one last ball. Right now, Black Omen is currently 10 tons over, waiting for them to... But yeah, definitely got to give kudos to 228. This was something that's very admirable for them. They rule booked themselves in a way, They had the win in the bag, and they just didn't.
Alrighty.
They kind of just didn't allow it to happen. They rule booked themselves, which is admirable, a lot of honor. But personally, if I was in their shoes, I would have just taken the win and run because it didn't seem like Black Omen really noticed them yet. Although Daenerys noticed it in chat, so they probably were going to say something. And now Lizzie will not die out of bounds, I would assume. So it'll be interesting to see him get a little bit more playtime. Welcome back, Belmont.
Yeah, it was funny because I was watching Lizzie when him and Cross were up there. And like you said, he did get stuck on Cross. So Cross was tight against the rock there. So it's a tough one. But sometimes, like I said, that's the way she goes. You got to know where your team is and how you're playing it, especially when you're playing that tight out of bound game. So got to be careful. Sucks. I can't even update the scores.
That was a sick flank too by Lizzie. If he pulled it off, that could have been a highlight.
Well, yeah, because
that was a play right there.
With him and Cross right there, they were putting on damage, and the 228 could see them and could shoot them, but for how long they were going to be there, it would have been another 2 seconds, and Gilakuda would have been dead and they could have marched back over, but they were being cautious, and then obviously it cost Lizzie, so it was not good for them, but it wasn't the end of the world since, like you said, we're probably getting a redrop here, so...
Letting the teams know, see if they're getting ready. And hopefully we'll get this match moved. It's going to be a redraw, drop 3. Once again, G2A essentially rule booking themselves, which is, like I said, very honorable. Kudos to them.
Yeah, like I said, we're obviously never getting to Rubelite Oasis today, so which is fine.
Oh, we're gonna get to Rubelite Oasis. You better be ready for it. Be ready. Personally, I'm not a fan of Rubelite Oasis. It doesn't conduct itself to stellar light play, I find, all the time, just because of the way people play it. Like, it's very nerve-wracking. It's not like Tourmaline, where there's kind of light fights that evolve. You have a lot of areas to flank. Rubelite's just, it's kind of a mess at times.
It's if you think of it like Terra Firma, you go to the center's just a lot bigger, but the outskirts of that map are almost a waste. You almost never use them. You did on Terra Firma, but only on Conquest, and only if somebody was like, yeah, I'm gonna go cap for you guys, and then of course you got yelled at by your team, well, we could have used you in the center. It's like, well, that's kind of what a light mech does. I go cap things. I got this capture accelerator, but it's just a lot more.
Yeah, capture accelerator is also very interesting on maps like Conquest. A lot of people don't know how effective it is, but it really is. Like, one light can turn a point at the snap of the fingers.
Yeah, well, I mean, if PJ's watching, give me old Terra Third back, goddammit. I want to fight in the old volcano.
I actually prefer the new Terra Firma. I hated that volcano.
It's all about going into the volcano. Who was man enough to charge in there? Because if everyone did, it paid off. If everybody let you go to your death, then it was, well, that's the way she goes, boys. I mean, back in those days, I had no problem charging in. Because if you're the first guy, you just get in, get behind cover, because you're dying.
It's just that you get caught in that inner circle, and it's just very, 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 very annoying to get yourself out of it. It's a pain in the butt, the rear end, basically.
Oh yeah.
Fighting in there, especially since it's so hot. It's interesting because you can take a lot of angles. There's a lot of vertical combat that happens on that map, but still, it's just annoying. It's just a terrible place to fight. You're kind of just in this giant, hot, overheated, walled citadel. You're like in Fort Knox if its air conditioning system broke, and it's just terrible.
Well, I mean, the Caustic Valley called there is the same thing, though. Except that it's got stone outsides instead of large volcano-ish walls. Wow, sorry, there's no levels.
No.
Levels on Terra Firma made the difference.
Also, the fact that you were fighting a volcano made a difference. Like, at least you can kind of hop over those walls in Caustic. In Terra Firma, the only way you could really fly over those walls is if they brought, like, a Spider 5E with, like, 1,000,000 jump jets or something like that. But, it's not happening.
You just get in the lava, you just run, come back in. It's safe. It's fine.
Yeah, in the 3 firing lanes that the volcano allowed, thus making your movements predictable, thus causing an assault with quad Gauss or dual PPC, dual Gauss to just leg you and kill you.
Yeah.
Because they knew exactly where you were going. F old Terra Firma. New Terra Firma is perfectly fine with me. Even though I probably shouldn't have said F, but whatever. Hate that map.
Yeah.
Probably in the minority that it creates a new one.
Well, you can't just give 2 of them back. You got to give us all of them. It's rude. I mean, I understand. Old Caustic, it's basically same Caustic, just a little bit different. But Terra Firma, that was a shit show. So you just make Terra Firma Domination, and you're winning. And it looks like
we're good to go.
Yes,
both
sir.
teams are ready. 228 Black Omen replaying the drop after 228 called themselves out on the wrong mech Very good sportsmanship on their part. Kudos. You know what? Kudos to all of Div A. They've been very good sports all around. 228 was good sports in letting them redrop with EMP. 228 rule booking themselves. Black Omen and EMP being very good to the casters, kind of allowing them to do the map bans constantly, working with the team. You know, these Div A teams are definitely very, very professional right now. It's amazing. Everyone's showing up for an interview. Everyone's talking about high-level comp. It's like it's obvious that these high-level teams want to help the scene grow.
Ooh, your mic is just awful right now.
How is it now?
That sounds better now. Just get those.
I was flicking in and out.
I just want to get those technical difficulties out of the way for this fresh drop of mechs, which now have a different group. Although 228 looks pretty... No, they can't be close to the same. Did they have... That's a lot of Wolfhounds in my eyes.
They don't have to be the same if they don't want to, and it's kind of shown
true.
in the fact that Black Omen looks like they changed up their strategy a little bit, since they're bringing ER Large Laser Warhammer in Lerm God. Lizzie's still bringing his Dragon, but instead of it being a 5N, it's a Fang with ER Large Lasers. The Javelin 11As, I believe, have moved to medium lasers instead of the close range potential of the Piranhas. Summoner F ERPPC.
Are you looking... Look at Kondo and look at Lizzie in the DD and the Fang. Like, they are not blending in. So 228 has a great strategy of putting all their money in on blending in. These two with wings and kits and blue and yellow paint, they stick right out. They will easy to find targets.
Hey, you know, mech warrior pilots like flamboyant mechs. Bowser, I know, like to have the wings decal in his mechs, but one last bite now eating shots. Panic button also eating a couple shots. What is 228 bringing, actually? We haven't checked it out. It looks like they're running a similar deck that they did last game with the Night Gear Primes running not ERPPC, ER Large Laser and Gauss, and Gilakuda swapped out his previous Night Gear for one with Gauss rifles and ER Large Lasers as well. So similar build, similar strategy on T28. That could actually put them on a bit of a disadvantage, since now Black Omen knows exactly what they're going to do, whereas Black Omen brought something a little different. They definitely feel like they brought more range this time, instead of a bit more of a DACA focus that they had earlier with the Dragon and with the Jaeger Mech Double Ds. So we'll see how it plays out. But right now, the circle is comfortably in the hands of Black Omen as far as time is concerned, but the trades are still very even with a little bit of an advantage in Black Omen. So the switch of strategy seems to be paying off a little bit. Nita Pickles at 95%.
Well, I don't know about bringing Wolfhounds to the Caustic fight, because it's just the heat on this map with the way Wolfhounds are. I don't think it's efficient enough. But I mean, 228 Blackwatch is a better team than what I'm used to, so maybe they have a better strategy and know how to use them a little bit better, but they get hot quick, so...
No, I agree. And you know what? Jump jets are very conducive to this map, since it allows you to hop over the small mountains that surround the giant caustic circle. Can give you a bit of an advantage. And you're right, the Wolfhounds aren't necessarily the most heat-efficient light mechs, even though they are pretty high on heat efficiency, depending on how many medium pulse lasers you bring. Some people like to run 6 with their Wolfhounds, others like to run 5. So it's just dependent on what your build is, but I definitely don't like the Wolfhound pick. But then again, I'm extremely biased against it. I hate that light mech so much. It's just anti-fun to play, in my opinion, but that's just me. And right now it looks like 228 is forming up on the unfun Wolfhound, looking at the flank of Black Omen, seeing if they can try and make a move, but Black Omen's actually rotating away from them. Dogmeat getting a little closer to the Night Gyres. One last bite, protecting Gilakuda, shading him in his mislinks. And right now, it's just a continued stalemate, trade against trade, range against range, although it is worth noting that Gilakuda once again ate a terrible strike, down 80%.
Well, I think he's a... Well, yeah, just did again, down to 69%, 68, and that is going to hurt. I don't know if that was his because of the sightline. I almost think it was, but that definitely sucks being in that position, because he is now... Yeah, he's yellow CT all over.
Well, we'll see from the team damage counter, but either way, Gilakuda is not in a good position. His gun shoulder with the large lasers is orange, I believe, so his trading ability is going to be somewhat limited. Dogmeat took some hits, he's down 90%, but overall, it's looking like Black Omen is in great shape right now, 90s across the board. Meanwhile, 228 also 90s across the board, with the exception of Gilakuda, but that trading Night Gear being down to 68%, his gun shoulder being the shoulder that's taken the most damage. is going to be a bit detrimental to 228's trading ability. Losing that one trading mech is going to limit your options in the strategic field of battle, and it's going to be, we just have to see how 228 is going to respond to the fact that one of their prime trading mechs is a little too beat up to continue the trade.
Yeah, well, you can see Black Omen is very spread out on this map and this match itself compared to 228, who is now super tight in trying to find something to do here. They're kind of in a bad position because I think they're a bit too far back, but if they start moving up a little bit, they could find someone to rush and go from there, but it's just deciding when and where, like I said. With Gilakuda too far in the back, still getting hit by, I don't even know who that is in the far end there. But, yeah, you can see Black Omen's kind of in a bad spot here, where they got guys way too far from each other, but
Gilakuda down 55%. Things are not looking good for him. While Black Omen is completely fresh, Gilakuda is starting to take some pretty nasty trades as well. He's trying to play aggressive to keep his presence in the fight, but he's still just getting hit with artillery, airstrikes, and gunfire. I cannot say I approve of this move. He is just not playing his trading mech well, but mainly it's coming down to strikes. His left torso, the gun torso, just is not looking good right now. It's almost open, and it looks like 228 is going to lose a trade mech very soon off the bat, and it's prompting 228 to make a bit of a move. Panic button and Dom pushing over the hill with their light mechs, trading off fire. Black Omen trying to pull back their range a little bit, get some distance. Nina Pickle eats a ton of damage, 72%, almost ate the strike, ran away successfully, but that was just not a good poke by 228, and that was a very good reorganization by Black Omen. They're keeping their mechs together this time after that drop that got rulebook previously, where their lights kind of got left alone to die. But now they're starting to recircle and they're starting to regroup. Things are just not looking good for 228. They're bleeding way too much armor compared to Black Omen, and they're losing all these minor skirmishes that are happening at different phases of the fight.
Well, and that basically comes down, they basically just did what I just said to do, and it did not work out. They either didn't push it fast enough, or it just came down to Black Omen seeing them moving and just came into the right position where, like I said, they didn't run in with the night gyres. They just came in with the lights, and it was a bad move because Black Omen was still in enough sight lines where they could still put fire down range, and it just didn't look like it was going to work. Now Nita Pickle is 66.
Right now, 228 is in an even worse position. They're kind of in a firing hole right now, being stuck inside the Caustic Valley's giant called volcano-like caldera. Matt eats some bad shots. He's down 87%, and the trades are on. Jivy's trying to hold the line as much as he can, playing the part of Hodor in this 228 scrimmage right here. Articum Adam Steiner joining him, trying to hold the door against the impending tide of ER large lasers, but it's just not working. Dom 925, one last Nina Pickle forming up to try and get some fire. Great trades from Navid and Kraz and Dogmeat. Very well executed. They're taking very little damage while putting out what they can, and things just continue to look bad for 228. They're a little too scrunched up in their positioning. Adam and Jiffy are a little bit disjointed in their trades, and Gilakuda is still too beat up to do any serious trading at all.
Yeah, this is definitely not going well for 228 in my mind either. Like I said, Pasha at 82, Lizzie 74. That's the lowest they got. Whereas you got Gilakuda 53, 66 Nita Pickle, and just with the way the trades are going right now, it is not looking in favor for them for this match.
One last bite, and Dom look like they're trying to make it happen by chasing Dario and Kraz a little on the far left flank. Also, good strike. 228 really needed that to try and edge them out in the fight a little bit. Pasha down 78%, Lizzie 72. Percentages, however, still unfavorable to 228. Archon Adam Steiner down 81. He just continues to eat shots, and that's mainly because of the fact that their mechs are not in favorable trading position. 53% on Gilakuda still, and let's see where Archon's damage is at. Yes, just as I thought. It's in the shoulder. It's in his right shoulder, so maybe not too impactful. That might not be the shoulder where all the weapons are at, I don't believe. Looking at his mech, it looks like that. Actually, yeah, it is. That's the shoulder where his weapons are at. Okay, so once again, both Gilakuda and Archon Adam Steiner are in bad positions. Their large lasers are taking a beating.
Oh, panic!
But
yeah.
What a pick! Panic button gets Krasnopetsky. The light lance forms up, and they're making a mad push trying to get Pasha next. 228 understands that they have to make something happen, and they're making it happen. Pasha down 54%, about to get ganked soon. What a kill by 228. Very well done. Panic button. Pasha goes down, and now 228 is starting to put this game on their shoulders. The Light Lance trying to do work. Lizzie looks like he's going to go down next. Jiffy kills Navid in the back with a beautiful shot as he tries to get tries to get in the back to flank Nita Pickle. And right now things are just looking terrible for Black Omen. They were at the front of this match throughout the entire thing, and now they're just dying repeatedly. Gilakuda, amazing shot. And now it's just left to Lizzie, Kondo, and Lermgod. Kondo trying to put some damage down, but it might not be enough. If 228 doesn't do anything too foolish, there's no reason for them to lose this match.
Yeah, and I like how they like Lizzie alone because she's definitely de-weaponed. So you're just stuck with Lermgod and that beautifully 91 horsepower Warhammer, and Kondo, who's just trying desperately to take out Jiffy after he took out Gilakuda, I believe. Or I wasn't paying enough attention to that.
Yep, Lermgod in the back, Kondo trading Jaegermech double Ds, Lizzie 29% in the back. He's not going to be able to get jumped by lights. It's a bit too much distance to handle. Kondo's moving up, but this is extremely detrimental for Black Omen. They need to put a mech in the circle. Kondo, the unwilling sacrifice to try and keep the game going. However, it is worth noting that there's not a single mech on 228's side that's over 70%, so they're not exactly singing the victory song right now, tooting their own horn. They're playing this careful and conservative, only trying to get the picks when they need to make them. But right now it looks like that the lights are forming up on Matt with Archon Adam Steiner providing from some support. Lizzie is moving up as well. This is not a smart move. All they need is Kondo in this circle. I do not think that this is the right play. Lizzie might be trying to flank, though. He eats a terrible shot from Jiffy, down 29%, and it looks like the mechs are forming up. This might be another attempt by 228 to end the game right here, to gank Kondo and just finish it.
Yeah, Jiffy had another beautiful Gauss strike on Lermgod out there, so...
One last bite, getting the kill on Lizzie, finishes that one. Kondo eats it. Dom gets a good shot in his back. Kondo's just torso twisting like a madman right now. He doesn't know where the shots are coming from. Right now, 228 playing like the Vietnamese during the Vietnam War, and Kondo's the poor USA battalion that's just left out to die. Lermgod taking some shots as well. Not much Black Omen can really do at this point, and it just looks like that still 228's in prime position to win. Lermgod taking some serious hits. Nina Pickle, Matt trading very well against Kondo, and once again, Lermgod dies. I'm pretty sure this match is going to 228.
Yeah, I can't believe it. This match actually went better for 228 just after holding position for long enough. Oh, that was crazy. Good game by 228. Wow. Beautiful win.
And we would thank our fellows at MW Leagues 2 for giving us a nice host. Thank you very much for the views. I hope your game was a lot of fun. I did see that you guys got a good amount of viewers. Thank you very much for that rating party of 35 views. Much appreciated. And that concludes match 3 for the people that are new to the chat. It is currently a 2-1 match. Blackman had 2 wins against 228. The first one against Tourmaline, a commanding win after 228's attempt to try and bait them in with Fafner's gone awry. And second match going in favor of Black Omen after 228 trying to use stealth Thanatoses to spread their Gauss around the map, also failed as well. But now it looks like 228 is finding their momentum after what was an extremely tense game of trades. Black Omen loses to 228, and it all started with a pick on Krasnopesky.
Yeah, a beautiful hit on the back that just took him out instantly. And like you said, then they took out, I can't even think of who it was, Navid, instantly again. The third one to go down. Like, it just worked out in their favor. The perfect flank.
Krasnopesky and Navid definitely showed that they got picked. Terrible light play on their end. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what killed them, so I can't really give them honest critiques, but the fact that they only did 41 and 65 damage respectively showed that definitely were not fulfilling their role, and that's definitely unheard of from Krasnopesky. He's normally a very good light pilot, but he just did not play that drop well. He allowed himself to get picked by the Light Lance, it felt like, or at least he could have done a little more to avoid getting picked. Definitely not the best move, and not the best look for Black Omen's Light Lance, which has been playing very well throughout the match. A huge gaffe as it allowed 228 the momentum it needed. And looking at the replay right now, yeah, it looks like Krasnopesky just misses them. He just gets back shot. He completely tunnel visions on the heavy body, while the lights excellently roll behind him with Dom, Nita, Pickle, and Matt leading the way. Yes, that is just a huge blunder for Krasnopesky. You cannot do that. You cannot let yourself get picked. And Krasnopesky should know this, being a very skilled light pilot. Just terrible play on his end. And with Navid down and getting hit without any support from Krasnopesky or the heavies, which were also somewhat isolated, it just turned into a roll in favor of 228 after Black was pretty much winning the trade game.
Yeah. No, it's definitely he got tunnel vision on that side there and did not, like, no UAV or nothing, not to see that 228 was flanking him, because it, like you said, it happened quick. Basically, they tried that the first time when I mentioned that that's what they should be doing when they needed to move, and then when they actually did it the second time, like I said, they pushed, they got 3 right off the hop, moved to 5, which we're seeing in the replay now, and then it just, wow. It just moved so quickly for them into the last 3 mechs, with Lizzie being de-weaponized and Kondo having to go into the circle and Lermgod being left at almost 100% when he started to roll in. So, although Gilakuda did not strike himself with only 16 team damage, unless it doesn't show it on yourself. So it was definitely a good, perfect angle if that was Lermgod or somebody when they got that strike on him, because it seemed like it just right in front of his feet and was perfect. So
I have to say, kudos to T38's Light Lance. You know, we can, like, that was just amazing coordination. They saw an opening and they got it. I'm guessing they saw that Krasnopesky or Navid weren't exactly in the position to be able to see the push. They were a bit focused on paying attention to the heavies, and they got it. That was one of the most decisive movements we've seen in this series so far, and it gives them the win. Krasnopesky even admitting that his situational awareness was a little down in that match. Hashtag situational awareness. Unfortunately, yes, very uncharacteristic of Krasnopesky. Not good light play at all, but still, there is a chance to come back. Black Omen is still in the lead, mainly because of the light play that Black Omen's been bringing. Their heavies were just on the back foot. Essentially, 228 did an amazing single envelopment flank with their entire lance, cleaning up the game and getting them the win. It's going to be interesting to see how Black Omen recovers from this. They still have a chance to bring it back. They still have a chance to get some wins.
Well, I bet you it was that Kras and them were staring at those assaults, not the assaults, the Night Gyres, and I guarantee you the Night Gyres on, like, Adam Archon or whoever they were shooting had perfect eyes on them to say, like, hey, they don't see you guys in the low ground, they're not attacking you, this is the time to go. And they just went for it. And it definitely worked out in their favor. I mean, Lermgod doing lots of nice work, almost 700 damage from that Warhammer, from that position he was in, without being very contested for however long, basically the whole match until he had to come down to try and back up Kondo and Lizzie, who was weaponless. But yeah, Adam Archon with 500, Jiffy getting the 2 kills with 310 damage. I mean, still a lot of hurt mechs on 228's side, but like I said, other than because it was Gilakuda who was fighting Kondo at the end and just getting lit up by those DDs with the 5 AC2s. It was, at that point, almost nothing he could do because he was pretty beat up. So let me update some kills.
And it's interesting because, you know, like, even though Black Omen was on top for the entire portion of the match, the trades and whatnot, in the end, it still worked. It worked very well, and that was very well played by 228. They knew that they were down. They knew that they were in a dire position, and they had to make a play.
Yeah. I mean, now things are getting close because it was running pretty out there for Black Omen, but now it's 15 kills to 10, 2-1. So, like I said, coming into Rubelite Oasis here, we are going to see some two interesting drops. So, I'm pretty excited. All right. So it actually worked out better for them that they redid drop 3. Because it was 8-4, I believe. Going back to my math sheet, which is actually in your chat. Yeah, 8-4. So they lost 3 less mechs this time around. So it actually worked out better for them.
Hey, you know what? Like, just it's. just a very solid win from T28. It was an 8-1 win. Gillicuda was the only mech that died, and that's because he took a lot of damage. And in the end, it just came away as a win for T28 through a very excellent maneuver. T28 is definitely showing that their Lightlands can do all the work they need to do. If they could play like this throughout the rest of the season, I don't see why they can't take the division. However, this is just the beginning of the end for this drop. We have to go forward and see what Black Omen going to do to respond to this, and see what Krasnopesky and Nava do to respond to this. It's on them. The onus is on them to kind of recover after that match. They can do it. They definitely have the skill, but it's just, it's interesting. Like, after a match like that, you kind of get shaken up a little bit. It's like getting picked isn't fun. I've gotten picked more than my fair share, and it's not fun to be the reason why to be one of the reasons why your team lost. But a new map, we're moving on to Rubelite, which is definitely kind of JGX's home. They have a lot of practice on this map. They know very well how to fight it, and meanwhile, 228 probably hasn't done a lot of work with this map, mainly because Rubelite Oasis hasn't been a favorite in NA. It hasn't been banned a lot. It's just so it's going to be interesting to see what 228 does with this map. This is kind of uncharted territory for them.
I mean, I'm sure they know what they're doing. They guaranteed if you were going to map ban, like you said, there's certain maps you don't want. So there's 3 that you're going to have to play. And they probably figured this was going to be one of them. So they'll have something in mind. But like I said, if the JGX side and the Oceanic side has a lot more experience on this map, they will probably be more adapted to any strategy that comes about to happen. Although 228's been pretty good about playing the long-range strategy in this until that last drop there. So, I mean, they still had the Nightjars with the Goss ER large, but I guess we'll see. And pretty soon, too, as we have one team locked with Black Omen, just waiting on 228. And they say good.
228
so.
brought a... And 228, they brought a lot of skill to that next match. So we're going to see how they respond to Rubelite now. I can't wait to see how 228 plays this. Like, that kind of match got me psyched. I love seeing good light play.
Yeah, I expect Kras to be angry about this one. Still composed, but yeah, he's going to be angry about getting shot in the back there once, so we'll see. Remind me after this drop, we will do the giveaway for 500 MC. Get someone some cash. Hot diggity.
Oh, that's true. We do have some mech packs, don't we? Like some stuff that we can give the wonderful viewers of this match. Is it mech packs or MC you got, Bell?
500 MC. No one gives me the good stuff.
Hey, you know what? It's enough for a mech bay. I'll take it. And right now, off the bat, 228 bringing ATMs. Huntsman A, and Oblivion SK, ATMs. Dom925, he's ATM, Huntsman. Panic Button, Narc, medium lasers. This is the same kind of strategy they ran against Evil, except instead of bringing the Lerm boat, they're bringing ERPPC Warhawk, ERPPC Summoners. Actually, they are bringing a Lerm Basakura not Basakura, Blood Asp. They're bringing a Lerm Blood Asp and bringing more ERPPCs. This is the same kind of deck they brought against Evil on Alpine when they played against them, and this is going to be incredible. We are going to see the viability of ATMs on this match. I know that playing with Bowser, he has done some amazing things with ATMs on this map in the past, and I'm pretty sure 228 can do as well. Meanwhile, on the side of oh, excuse me, got something stuck in my throat. On the side of Black Omen, ER large lasers across the board with some DACA. JZ bringing UAC 10s and UAC 5s. Lerm God bringing ER large lasers. Gauss Rifle ER large lasers on Gernhawk. Krasnopesky, medium pulse lasers. Lizzie, Ultra AC2s with the Dragon 5N. So it's a combination of medium range DACA, long range trade going up against 228's primarily missile deck. And I can tell you one thing, I did not see any AMS on those mechs.
Yeah, like I know Axe 64 does a lot of work with those missiles in our game, so this will be interesting to see. I find it interesting that Lermgod brought the Zeus as well. I definitely would have told him to bring something else, but You are good in what you are bringing, so hopefully he knows what he's doing. And I assume he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's the Lerm god, so without Lerms today.
Right now, Lerm God may get lermed on. No AMS present whatsoever on this team. T2A bringing the Lerm heavy deck they brought against Evil originally on Alpine, but instead they're bringing on Rubelite. It's a little interesting to see how this is going to work because Rubelite definitely has a lot more cover that would favor defense against LRMs and ATMs, but still something that could do work, especially if Black Omen takes a lot of positions on the high points. But it looks like they aren't doing that right now, actually. Well, actually, yeah, it does look like they are doing that, but they're smartly hiding in the Tourmalines. Jay-Z, however, is a little bit out. ATMs go out. Jay-Z taking some hits. Archon Adam Steiner, however, takes a lot of damage, 78, and he's going to because he's the primary trading mech. And the Lerms are out. I repeat, the Lerms are out, but they're not making a lot of contact. Jay-Z in his Mad Cat Mark II does actually bring some AMS. I do apologize. For some reason, that didn't show up when I spectated him. Oh, it did. I just didn't spectate him long enough. I apologize, viewers. But anyway, yeah, but even still, one AMS is not going to be enough, especially to stop the ATMs. Pasha at 78% definitely took a big hit, and the missiles are flying.
Yeah, we got someone in the backfield here. Yeah, one last bite is Incubus capping Gamma, trying to get that lead on the cap game because they are almost 4-1. So it'll be a good showing here to have to make Black Omen push in. Like you said, Pasha was 68%. 228 pretty good on their side, minus Adam Archon and Korean Jesus. So, and they are trying to make Jay-Z pay for everything he's done getting that close to center, but like I said, with that AMS on his Mad Cat 2, they are going to have a more difficult time than they want to put the damage on him. Although they have
Credit to Black Omen, though. They are using the Tourmalines to their advantage to put as much cover between them and the missiles as possible. What were you saying, Belmont? I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Yeah, Gernhawk just got a massive strike put down on him. Like, they are in a bad position with being that tight up there. Lurden God's a little bit a ways, but, they're still in a bad position for strikes, so 228 being nicely spread out, able to do a lot of work.
And right now, Black Omen is kind of ceding map control, and they lost the cap advantage because they're trying very hard to protect themselves against the LRM ATM heavy deck of 228. It's definitely working in their favor. Gillicuda and Admiral Korean Jesus are at 70 and 75 respectively, but right now Jay-Z, Gernhawk, Pasha, they're all very beat up, 66, 64, and 68 respectively between all three of them. And Jay-Z, of them all, CT's almost open. Things are not looking good for him right now.
Yeah, and you can see Adam Markensteiner trying to get into a better position to fire on these guys up top, which now he is with that Warhawk Prime, as well as, Totok and great. It's just a lot of 228 guys in great position. They're taking a little bit of damage themselves, but I believe that from the way it looks like they are winning on the trades here, so definitely not going in the way for Black Omen up there on that top deck with Lerm God and those guys being up there.
Right now, Gillicuda and Admiral Korean Jesus are definitely getting beat up a little more on the trades. Gernhawk landing some key shots necessary to offset the ATMs. And interestingly enough, one last bite in his Incubus is taking the long way off, trying to get some range shots to see if he can influence the cap a little bit. However, right now, Black Omen is starting to take the initiative to get the game back. They cap Kappa. They're getting the cap lead back in their favor by capping Gamma as well, trying to take the match back away from 228, who has managed to maintain cap control by maintaining map control by forcing Black Omen's mechs to hide behind the limited Tourmalines they can in order to protect themselves from the Lerm fire. Jay-Z, however, starting to get hit with Panic Button and Panic Button just diving in and out occasionally to get the narcs necessary to lay down the Lerm.
Oh yeah, Gernhawk taking another strike. Yeah, you can see Oblivion down there in a great position. He was using his tag to get Jay-Z from behind with the ATMs, so...
They've taken Epsilon.
And right now, 228 is intelligently keeping up the cap lead. This is definitely a far cry from how we saw them play Tourmaline. This time they're running a mech that demands Black Omen respond by trading a little more out in the open and being away from the cover that protects them from ATMs, and it's working beautifully. Gernhawk down 40%. He's almost dead, and Dario is not far behind him in his fleet. Jay-Z, Mad Cat Mark IIB is also getting beat up. However, 228 is paying for every single missile. Oblivion's K and his Huntsman A is taking a lot of damage. Todok the Potato Hunter down to 16% too. And Oblivion SK, most importantly, his center torso is open, and a Huntsman center torso is not hard to hit at all. It is a pretty big target in comparison to the rest of the size of the mech. He needs to play it carefully if he wants to carry out through this match. And it looks like he did not, because Jay-Z just finished.
Yeah, and if you look right now at Kappa, they're Black Omen in almost a bad position here with the Totok, Dom and the Huntsman, and one last bite in Incubus, able to hold them off Kappa with those ATMs and ER. Oh, Gillicuda as well. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to him being in the back there. So they're actually in a great position. Because Navid's not going to last long here. And yeah, there he goes.
And he just got ATM to death. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Explosive kill. Navid gets LRM'd an ATM. Let me tell you something. If I was in his position, I would be absolutely furious. They try and get an LRM shot on Krasnopesky, but he successfully manages to bail out of there. Gillicuda finishes off JZ, who's been isolated for quite some time, and the match is starting to swing back towards 228's way a little bit. Oblivion died, but they still got 2 kills. Krasnopesky, however, finishes one last bite to even it out. And what seemed like a match that was in the winning hands of 228 is starting to shift a little bit more in the favor of Black Omen, but even still, Krasnopesky is about to be lost soon, and that is not going to look good, as that is one less light necessary for the cap game, and Dario just can't fight at all. Krasnopesky takes his own life rather than allow the enemy to take it. Panic button finishes Dario, and it looks like this match is going to go to 228 anyway, because they have a commanding cap lead. 650 points at a 2 cap advantage. That means they just have to hold this for 50 seconds, or if they cap data, just 30 seconds, and the game is there.
Yeah. Oh, Lizzie with the dragon coming out, trying to finish off Admiral Korean Jesus and Arkham Steiner in the top deck there, comes sneaking out the bottom, but still they are waiting to put Lerm damage down on them, so, or ATM damage, sorry.
Archon Adam Steiner is taking some back shots from Lermgod, who gets a little manly over here. Look at him pushing, and these 3 228 mechs just positioned behind this cover don't see him at all. Todok can't really engage him, but it looks like Gillicuda's taking the initiative now, hitting him with his summoner, but he really doesn't have enough armor to take those trades that aggressively. He lays another shot on Lermgod, very well placed. Todok trying to get in a position to LRM him, but the Lerms eat the wall. And right now, 228 is still in the cap lead, very commanding cap lead. It looks like Lermgod's just trying to get kills where he can, and it looks like that is not going to happen. 31%. He's about to be brought down by this trio of mechs that are trying to bring him to an end. Lerngod gets a kill on Gillicuda. Very good job, but Dom ends him, and the match is going to swing in 228's way with a cap win. Very well played by 228. Excellent use of missiles, not even necessarily to kill the enemy, but just to deny them the chance to get map control.
Yeah, no, definitely a great way to play this map. And like I said, with only one AMS on, JZ in the center, it worked for a little bit, but he then became the force of the main guy to take out, so it was great long-range fire. Holding 4 of those guys up top in that place was definitely a good thing to do. Definitely held them back from taking any sort of cap positioning, especially because they could have moved in on Theta and or spread out without holding them there. It definitely hurt them a lot.
Just like very good strategy by 228. They managed to bring something that Black Omen didn't prepare for. Admittedly, if they had more AMS, they probably could have won it. Jay-Z had the right idea. It's like, hey, you know what? They might bring LRMs. Let me sacrifice a couple of tonnage just to fit it in. And it kind of worked out because he was in the middle of everything. He still did 416 damage despite being focused. Lermgod 732 and his Zeus put a lot of work in. Warhawk Summoner from Gillicuda 619 and 607. Admiral Korean Jesus 537. So the trades were very well. The Huntsmans on paper looked like they didn't do as much as they should have. Dom doing 533 damage, but the other Huntsman only doing about 189, but it's not necessarily damage that the ATMs did, but it was the fear of everything that they put into those mechs. Just absolutely insane. Those mechs, people realized that they had a lot of trading power in them, and their very presence on the field forced Black Omen to kind of take very defensive positions in order to protect their own mechs. Like, just, looking at the damage numbers, you would think, wow, Oblivion SK, 185, not a lot, but Oblivion actually helped influence the battle in a big way. His ATMs pretty much sealed the deal to make sure that Black Omen wasn't able to trade aggressively as they could have to seal the win. Excellent work by 228. I love the fact that they are going all in, and it's 2-2 going into the final match.
Yeah.
Excellent work.
Yeah, not a lot of team damage on either side, which is nice to see. And like I said, just good numbers all around, except for the Wolfhound and the Flea, which kind of didn't have a good chance in there on the Black Omen side, but like I said, sometimes that's the way she goes, boys. I'm actually impressed by Lerm God getting 732 damage in that Zeus, but like I said, with 60 large lasers, it's almost not too hard. But
just incredible play, But even still, also kudos to Panic Button. He was getting the narcs necessary in order to make the match happen, and even though he was mainly a narc mech, he did his job. He narked. He got some damage. He didn't get 12 damage, so it's not like chat can necessarily give him a lot of trash talk for that. But even still, just amazing play by him. Incredible,
Well, like
they
you
came
said,
in with a strategy and they executed it, and it kept Black Omen from trading aggressively. And credit to Black Omen, they tried to get the shots they could, but there wasn't much they could do. And I'm talking over you. I'm sorry. What would you like to say?
Oh, that's all right. But I mean, you look into what Narc can do to a match as compared to a UAV. You can get out of the UAV's range. You can get out of tag laser range. But a Narc lets them know you are. So you're not screwed, but it's giving that position for it's over a minute, is it not? Well, I know it's over a minute.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is. I haven't looked at it for so long. I don't use it enough. But it definitely, that knowing where the position of where they are and then giving position for any missiles, even if you're not going to use missiles on an opponent, can definitely screw them up in how they want to play. Because they want to, sure, I want to move over there where I can get better vantage points and get better shots on these guys. But then I'm in the open. Not only can they see me, they don't have to see me. They know I'm in the open. Somebody else just has to be like, yeah, Echo Jay-Z, he's in the open. He's walking across. Light him up. Narked up. That's all she wrote. You can't risk that. And like I said, holding them in that top position there where they could put strikes down on them and hurt them, that just made all the difference. Just a great, great match by 228 Blackwatch on this one.
And I love the spread of their ATM and LRM mechs. They never stood together. They were away from Archon Adam Steiner and the other mechs with PPCs that were kind of laying down the damage. 228 had an amazing spread going into this match, and those ATM mechs got very aggressive with their positioning, and that's kind of what you needed to do. I have a feeling Black Omen's probably going to learn from their mistakes and maybe bring some AMS on their mechs just to make sure. It's a ton and a half, so it's not like they're losing like a heat sink. The min-maxer in them is probably crying right now at the thought of bringing AMS, but it would have definitely saved their lives and allowed them to be a bit more aggressive on trades. Also, kudos to Black Omen's mechs. Krasnopetsky definitely returning to form after getting nuked in Drop 3, trying to lead the Light Lance back to victory, and they almost did, crushing some of 228's lights, but in the end, 228's lights weren't going to win them the match. It was in the heavies and in the Lerm Huntsman's, and credit to Panic Button, he did exactly what he had to do, which is get aggressive narcs, get aggressive scouting. Just amazing strategy by 228. And you know what? Say all you want about the fact that it doesn't take skill to fire LRMs or ATMs. It does take at least some positional skill to use LRMs and ATMs. And 228 deployed those LRMs and ATMs with good positioning. So kudos to them, and kudos for catching Black Omen with their proverbial pants down, so to speak, getting the win in a very key moment. 2-2 match. This is going to be amazing. 228's chance to claw back and attempt to take first place is right here, right now. Let's see if they can keep it up.
Yeah, no, this is interesting to see, especially when, like you said, putting Black Omen in a position where you almost force them to want to go underground, because it's like they're taking LRM damage from everywhere on the map. So you were like, you can't push bottom on that map with that many mechs, that many long-range mechs. So you lose everything. You lose all your advantage. So they were basically stuck, and making them stuck up there is just I guarantee Black Omen ain't going to be happy right now. I tell you that right now. Lizzie is not going to be impressed. But it's almost... Jay-Z was ready. He's like, hey, man, I got this thing on my back. It shoots things. It puts missiles down. Hey, I'm ready. I got this covered. And everyone else is like, thanks, man. Thanks for having my back. That was a poor choice. And basically, Eon actually did that to Russian Jade Falcon, Drop 1, the first match I cast this season. They LRM'd the shit out of them on Canyon Network. And they should have expected this in a long-range map where you want to hold top position. But...
Well, it's very interesting because comp players were speculating potential weaknesses of Lerms to AMS for a very long time. But at the end of the day, it just didn't... It was just something that they didn't think about. And Rubelite has some cover, and we saw Omen utilize that cover, but at the end of the day, that cover is also what caused them to lose because they weren't able to establish map control. They weren't able to get the shots down to keep 228 from getting Theta. They weren't able to cover Epsilon or Kappa. They weren't really able to do much of anything, and their lights were also getting hamstrung as well because they were just getting lured by long-range weapons. They couldn't stop the rolling tide of missiles that allowed 228 an extraordinary amount of map movement and mobility without fear of getting shot in the leg by a stray PPC or ER large laser shot from admittedly very good heavy and assault traders. And what we saw the effectiveness of the missile do neutralized Black Omen's ability to shoot very, very well by deploying what many see as low skill weapons in order to force them into cover constantly.
Yeah, it definitely worked out to be a good match for them, so kudos, like you said. Well, it'll be interesting to see how this last match pans out and what the changes are for this one, because I assume you wouldn't assume they would use ATMs and LRMs again, but because they would be ready for it. But because I was told, I remember when I talked to Seabiscuit in 228 Death from Above, and he said that he dropped, I believe it was the Canyon Network drop, and he's like, yeah, we brought LRMs and stuff, and of course they brought 7, I think he said 7 EMS, not EMS, yeah, freaking, god damn it. They had 7 mechs that were covered, weren't going to hit them with the freaking LRMs, so they were screwed. ECM, I had ACM in my mind.
And we definitely might see some counters against LRMs now, since 228 is demonstrating the power of the LRM ATM combo.
Well, yeah, because now they'd be sweating it, right? It's not like drop 1. Like you play a Canyon Network drop 1. That drop 1's, that's it. You only get one chance to do it. You do it, it works, like Eon did against Russian Jade Falcon, it's over. Drop 2 and 3 are completely different. This is just a flip mode drop of this. They could do it again. But now you'd be sweating it, because there's no way they'd do it again, right? Right?
Maybe they will, maybe they won't, who knows?
Because you would assume they're going to put on some AMS, and just in case, drop 3 tons of whatever, just in case. But it's like, would they do it again? Because even 3 mechs with AMS could have changed the tide on a lot of that match, but we are maximum. Gillicuda with the awful speak.
We have maximum deal. Okay, I'm not going to finish that word, but they get.
Yeah.
And it looks like both teams are ready. Except Gillicuda, who has maximum. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, whatever works, right? I don't judge. I'm fine.
And we're launching.
Oh, you forgot to tell me to do the giveaway.
Oh, no! The free stuff!
I blame you on that one.
No!
We'll do it before the interview.
Why. No! We were too caught up in the discussions of the LRMs. No! The free stuff. Oh my goodness, that's the only reason why these people are here, apart from watching good mech games. Oh, darn it! Okay, we're doing it after this match, definitely.
Yeah. Blame Canada.
I can blame Saruman. Blame the White Wizard.
The White Wizard, yeah.
The Uruks have failed today. They were supposed to remind me about the giveaway. They had the mech bays in their little Uruk hands, and they forgot to tell me. It's all their fault.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, already it looks like 228 is not trying an ATM LRM deck again. Very wise. Gillicuda bringing UAC 5s and UAC 10s in his Mad Cat Mark II. Looking through the rest of the mechs, Panic Button opted out of his Narc Jenner 2C3 and is bringing 6 small pulse lasers in his Flea 17 solid build. One last bite, bringing a linebacker C, medium lasers, heavy large lasers, a popular build that 228 made available to comp players for use. Seeing their potential, Admiral Clean Jesus bringing medium pulse lasers in his linebacker, Nina Pickle, medium pulse lasers in his Wolfhound, and once again, just a lot of DACA on the heavy side of 228. Looking at Black Omen, let's see if they actually brought AMS. They did not, so they definitely had an idea that they wouldn't see that same deck again. Krasnopesky, interestingly enough, bringing in Osiris, I'm curious to see how that's going to work out. Meanwhile, it looks like that Black Omen is opting for more lasers this time instead of DACA. JZ bringing 4 ER large lasers on his Hellbringer Virago. Kondo bringing UAC-2s on his Night Gear, so definitely still some DACA. Krasnopesky covering over, once again, already covered him in his Osiris. Pasha, ER PPCs. Lermgod, ER large lasers. Lizzie, Gauss Rifle, ER PPCs. So a bit of combination of laser Gauss Vomit with 1 or 2 guys playing DACA, and basically Krasnopesky experimenting with the Osiris 4D, which is actually something Panic brought against Evil in Drop 5 on Alpine. So this seems to be the prime match, the prime trading match to see who can do it better, and let's see how 228 plays this out against...
Oh, dear Lord. Admiral Korean Jesus are taking a full strike to the mech, and I do not like where they are in this position. I watched this on some other drop, and it just did not go well. It's an awful place to be where Panic Button Dom and Nita Pickle are. Although they seem to be getting out of here quick, so it's not a bad decision.
Right now, it looks like 228's actually getting a little aggressive, pushing over the top on the basically the metallic bridge as part of Rubelite. They're putting down some serious DACA. Pasha's already down 70%. He's eating a lot of damage. He might be the first actual mech to fall on Black Omen's side. He's trying to pull out to some avail. He got out, but he's 45% completely beat up. Admiral Korean Jesus down 58%, however, and it seems like the Light Lance from Black Omen is trying to stop this push by hitting them in the back. Very good move by Black Omen. Let's see if it pans out, but they're just going for the throat right now as far as things are concerned, pushing into Black Omen. Kondo is completely surrounded. He's probably going to die. Back shots are trying to stop the push. Lermgod kills Admiral Korean Jesus. Kondo gets destroyed. Dario also falls. 2-1 advantage in favor of 228. Very good push, rolling into the heavy lance right up the gut of Black Omen, and they're continuing the push. They are not stopping. Panic Button and the lights need a pickle. Dom trying to shade. JZ gets a little caught out in his Virago, about to fall right there. Lermgod, however, gets a kill on Killakuda to stop it, and right now Lizzie's trying to put some pain. He separates away from the heavy body a little bit to try and provide some cover, and he's just trying to stop the lights to keep the bleeding from going down, and the match is finally settling down a little bit.
Yeah, not settling down much, that's for sure. It's still like basically 2 brawls going on right now. It's almost hard.
Dom kills. Yeah, it's hard to follow. Dom kills Lermgod. One last bite about to fall to Lizzie, however. Worth noting, Lizzie is still very healthy, and One Last and Panic are trying to bring him down. Nita Pickles chasing Krasnopesky and his Osiris. That's definitely going to be an easy chase. Kraz trying to tank for his dear life. Archon Adam Steiner finishes Navid, and it looks like this match could go in 228's favor. This is insanity.
Oh, and
what a crazy push. Lily trying to save it from Dom, and I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, One Last Bite was either powered down or shut down, but he's waiting for Lizzie to get in a better position. Oh, he was hoping to get a back shot and just couldn't wait for it, and he gets destroyed. But
Lizzie ends him, and right now it is not looking good. The mechs on 228 are very weak. Lizzie's fresh, but he's currently eating it right now. Look at these Mad Cat Mark 2Bs marching in, killing Lizzie right now, laying on the DACA. Look at this, and he goes down. Perfect push by 228. Pasha, 45%, just hiding right now, trying to conserve his mech for the inevitable kill that's going to happen to him. Down 2 lasers, CT open. The DACA spread is happening like crazy. The Mad Cat Mark 2s pump out so much damage. He's just trying to hide and cover to do whatever he can to nail a couple of kills.
Yeah, and he is CT open in the front, so, I mean, even that one shoulder's, that armor is red, so he will not have very long to go.
Pasha gets one final kill on Todok. Adam manning up mono despite the condition of his mech. Panic Button coming in with a flea to try and stop this. Nita Pickle, however, sees him drop, kills Pasha, and it's game over. 228 takes the match. 3-2. What a push.
Yeah, that was an interesting push, that's for sure. I definitely thought Black Omen had a great positioning on that when they were rolling in, but yeah, 228 made the right pushing. Who do I want to say? Goddamn, where's that frickin' Warhawk? Pasha down off the top ledge there, basically after stripping his one shoulder, then going after Kondo and pushing Lermgod down as well. What a great set of things.
Incredible match. 228 pushing their stuff in. What a match. Incredible. Credit to the lights. Krasnopesky and Novit both do quite a bit of damage. 421 and 304. Lizzie trying to stay alive, 716. But you look at Dario getting neutralized in his flea. You look at Jay-Z and his Virago not able to do much. Kondo gets shut down as he's one of the first mechs focused. And it's just a loss. And look at that sweet, sweet damage spread for 228's Assaults and Heavies. 403 for Gillicuda. 556 for Archon Adam Steiner. Todok the Potato Hunter leading the way. But it's also worth noting that Nina Pickle, Panic Button, One Last Bite, they were definitely able to spread the brawl out a little bit, force Black Omen into unfavorable positions by attacking their flanks, and they also shaded their heavies during the push as Black Omen was making a very sweet attempt to try and stop 228's push, hitting their backs with their lights, but in the end, it just didn't work. Amazing match.
Yeah, and I was wondering what they were doing at the beginning because they were pushing that one cap point, not fully because they were swinging around with the one guy taking it, and that's when, like you said, they got it. Black Omen was not really out of position, but just questioning what was happening, what was going on, and that's when they made that push, and they made it quick, made it work, and finished them off in drop 5.
Just an incredible match between two great teams, a slugfest through and through. Black Omen looks dominant in the first two drops, winning against 228, stopping whatever strategies they have, but 228 manages to eke out the wins where it's necessary, and just an incredible match. And right now it looks like that Black Omen is opting out of the interview, which is well within.
Which does suck too, because they had 2 beautiful drops in the first drops. Which reminds me.
Yes, just incredible.
Let's update me scores. Because that was 8-3? 8-5. What does it say? 8-5.
Calling in, seeing if 228 is going to be the interview. As I said, Black Omen is opting out of the interview, which is fine, and it is well within their rights. You know, we aren't the NFL. We're not here to fine people if they don't want to show up for an interview.
Yeah, Black Omen still had a 1 kill advantage on them in the drops, but yeah, 228 with a massive good drop 5 in there. And while we're thinking about it,
we can't even say that Black Omen necessarily played badly. It's just unfortunate situation that happened. You know, in a lot of matches, Omen would kind of lead. Excuse me. Black Omen would be leading, but then 228 would pull out a trump card and win. Just absolutely incredible match right now. Great sets, and here is 228 incoming.
Okay, let me do the giveaway before we start this then.
Oh, I'm sorry. You are right for the giveaway. Panic button. One last. You guys think you could hold on as we give away free MC to the willing Twitch viewers who stuck around with us?
Yeah, plus we need a JGX dude in here.
Unfortunately, JGX has opted out for the interview, which is within their right. They can.
No.
They're probably going back to the draw.
Where is that? Commander
You know.
Moobot. Where are you? You and me, we're both S's.
Don't get rid of Saruman. Just leave him in there. Don't touch him. just leave him. Just leave him.
Of course you want it. So this is for 500 MC. Let's see who takes it in this cast of, I don't know, we got 100 or so people. 160 it says in here. Probably 60 bots though, but let's run it, see what happens.
60 bots. I was thinking 100 bots, but okay.
That is possible.
Hey, you know what? I can't even critique you right now. You guys play an amazing match. Oh, even.
Almost. Sherrod _ holler at me, System Belmont or Saruman in chat. You can get a hold of me, or I will chase your ass down and give you this money, because that's what I'm doing now, because I'm sick of holding on to all this free stuff until the end. So 500 MC going your way, Sherrod. Holler at me, System Belmont on the Twitch.
Yeah, that was kind of a blunder. We shouldn't have done that. But what?
But let's go back and bring up the Discord, because that's... Oh, I'm not in the right place. Yeah, I'm in the right place now. Huzzah! Assuming... There we go. Alright. Ready to go. Beautiful match. Holy smokies, I was excited. That was a good one. How you guys feel
Yeah, I
about
think I
it?
might lose my. Yeah, my voice is a little exhausted from that one. Oh my god.
Well, you weren't crab excited.
Panic, you are.
But
Panic, just FYI, you are not talking, even though you're lighting up on.
Still lighting.
I hear you bite. You're coming through.
Oh, Panic left. Oh, there he is again. Let's try this again. Panic. Do you? Still nothing.
Mic check, nothing. Yep.
Rip.
Ripperoni, pepperonis.
Well, I mean, let's talk about the drop. You guys dropped 3. You guys had to run it again after bringing the wrong Nightshire.
Well, are the giveaways done, Belmont?
Oh yeah, it's done.
All right. Well, let's actually.
I only had one.
Actually, if you don't mind, oh, we only had one. Okay. Well, if you don't mind,
Basically.
let's start with drop 1 real quick. So one last Panic. If your mic works, you could talk. You can come in on this too. But the plan with the Thanatos, I'm guessing you were holding them back so that you wanted to use them in case Black Omen got a little too aggressive with their range push. But could you, in fact, go into greater detail about what your overall idea was for this drop? Maybe why the cap game might not have worked for you.
Drop 2, right?
1.
Yeah, sorry, man. Thanatoses were dropped too.
Drop 1? Yeah. Drop 1, we had the Jaeger and the Direwolf and the... Oh, you mean the Fafnir's?
Fafnir, sorry. That's what I was...
Yeah,
I got
now I get it. Yeah, so... Panic, I think you're still muted.
Speak up, Panic.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Alright. Yeah, I think I can take this. So, it looked like we basically came in with a similar idea to Eon, where we thought, you know, the other team's probably not going to take 2 light mechs in this drop, so we'll send 2 guys. We'll have a superior force to go around the map and take caps, and we'll just force the enemy to come to our heavy guys, and then we'll clean them up. And we didn't know if JGX was going to take like a dock attack like they like to do, or, you know, full long range, or the sort of mixture that they like to bring a lot. So we figured it was probably a safe bet that they were going to come towards us, or if they took long range, they weren't going to be equipped. The killer for us was that we didn't play our light mechs right, and 2, we didn't react correctly to JGX having 2 light mechs. So we were saying after the match we probably should have brought like our summoner or something quick down to help with the cap game, because with just a linebacker and a flea we couldn't really pin down their lights, and that meant that they didn't have to push. So at the end of the match we just had 3 useless Fafnirs there and just tried to make a desperation push to see if it would win, but JGX's position was really good, so there was nothing we could do there.
Yeah, it looked like you didn't get to bait them in as well as you wanted to. Like you got you had 3 guys on top deck running long range fire on them, and had you tried to bait them in with those Fafnirs, they might not have bought it anyways. But like I said, it was a great strategy that just didn't get to pan out right off the hop. So because they were ready, they were pushing, and then got close and just no, hit the brakes, boys. We gotta back up here.
Yeah. So we just lost that one on deck. That was a good design from JGX.
Sorry, man. Hello? Oh, we lost Panic. Yeah, because when you guys pushed up with the Fafnirs, was that just basically just a throwaway? You guys just said screw it, we're kind of in a bad position anyways. Let's push out. You didn't want to push.
We looked at the caps, did the numbers, and just said at this point we will lose if we don't get enough control to go split up for the all caps, and the only way we could do that is if we took out their main force to take Epsilon and Theta. So we knew it was probably going to be suicide, but we didn't really have a good choice at that point.
Yeah, because I talked some shit where you guys should have pulled out the other way, but I did figure it was kind of one of those things where you knew it was done for anyways. You just said, fuck it, push out and just hope for the best on the road.
We figured if we went through Castle... Oh, hey, I think we can hear you now.
There we go.
Yeah,
we got
I was going to say that we figured if we went through Castle, that it was just a slightly longer route and wouldn't really give us any more cover. It would also force our Fafnirs to kind of all go single file because that path's kind of thin. And I don't know how good our scouting was because we didn't really have that many people peeking up, but we just had a general idea of where the JGX guys were most of the time. I think the only person that could really see them actively was our summoner and me peeking through invisible walls, so we didn't have the best scouting, so we might have been able to get a better push from a slightly better angle, but I still think we were screwed.
Yeah. No, it's definitely...
Tourmaline match was lost on the Kappa side when their lights played a really nice game and kept one step ahead of Dom and I. We kind of lost their momentum early. They capitalized really well.
Yeah. No, it definitely sucked, like you said, when we were watching it too. You could see it happening. The lights trying to, like you said, with the linebacker trying to take out what I believe was the flea, and it just playing it perfectly in the long range game, and then, or not the long range, but the long cap game, and then coming back to you guys with the Fafnir's being right there. It was you just got screwed with the trap, didn't work. So
Yeah, that's the risk with those sort of decks.
So then let's talk about drop 2, because Saruman obviously died, or he's, not dead, but somewhere else. Drop 2 with the Thanatoses. Why Thanatoses? We definitely thought that came out of nowhere, or you guys were running weird strats to run against Black Omen, but...
Memes, mainly. The Thanatos has got that stealth armor ECM pair, so it's keep track of where... I think actually we did okay. If you look at the damage, I don't know. From my perspective, looking at the damage, it seemed that every time I popped up, there was a little bit more on their linebacker. I think that the counter strat to what we were doing was like a straight up rush with a bunch of fast stuff that could kite around and not really take damage from the Thanatos. Only goes about 60k.
Your volume is going in and out really hard.
Oh, is it? Hold on, I fixed that too.
You're gonna have to fix it, yeah, because it's popping.
No, I know it. No, I know what that is, because that's the stupid volume booster thing that doesn't know what to do with it. Did that work?
Yeah, you sound pretty clear
I think
now.
you're more consistent.
Not as
stream.
technical
stream.
But no, that's pretty much the only reason we ran those. It's just the memes, the stealth armor, and trying to get more creative lines. I don't think they. I think afterwards we sort of all said that they played a really good game of like keep, and we weren't able to really to capitalize on the fact that we had those guys that could maybe take a couple peeks from somewhere without being easily spotted. They would have to they would have to actively look for those ECM stealth armor.
Yeah, like it might have been a different story had you guys were Night Gyres on that drop, so you at least could have been jump jetting up to still take shots, but like the patience in that game to wait for them to say come to you. Like I said, like by the time they came and got you guys, like it was a perfect storm of the way they did it, and then wiped you guys out. But in the meantime, the waiting game, the spread out, the way you guys had the firing line set up was pretty good. Like I said, it just waiting and waiting for nothing to happen, and they were doing the same thing, and it was interesting to see the patience on both levels from the side for both teams. Sorry, it was definitely something else. So
yeah, they picked the right time. And we made a couple like fairly critical errors when responding to it, and that you just can't do that against a team that's playing that as well as Black Omen did.
Yeah, well, we blamed Oblivion pushing up too hard and then running, and then the light staying up top. But like I said, I don't think it was in a position where you guys were still a little bit too spread out with the way they pushed onto Admiral and
me.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
100%.
So. Yeah, I mean, part of it was we needed somebody to go up and get lines, which is what Oblivion was doing, but the writing was on the wall, so to speak, for their push coming, and I think we had our team got a little too tunnel visioned on getting lines when we needed to rotate back into that like defensive stance that we had been doing.
Yeah, I mean, your lights were doing beautiful work keeping eyes on the team. Like, we could, for how much they were moving around, like, the damage was not, nobody was getting hurt, and they were moving around so much trying to keep eyes on Black Omen that it definitely seemed to work until it didn't, which, like I said, it didn't pay off in the end on that one.
Overzealous.
That's good.
So let's talk about drop 3.5, because drop 3 obviously was negligible, because, you guys calling yourselves out on the illegal mech, which was still a great drop. Like I said, you won 8-4.
Somebody on stream, I was told, but we didn't check the rules right, or we can't read.
I can't read. That's what.
Well, understanding when there's that much paper
well, you know
to look
what?
at.
Panic. I'm going to say it right now. I said it in match, and I'm going to say it here. If I ever get caught for a DUI, I'm hiring you, sir, since you seem to have a better understanding of rule books than I ever will. So kudos to you. Like, holy hell, you guys are truly on top of things when it comes to the particulars. Like, I envy that.
Except for the fact that we ran the wrong mech.
Still, you caught it, which is fine. Like, and that was very honorable. Like, kudos.
Okay, yeah, sure. We weren't gonna get away with it, but I think just running the second drop, we just ran basically the same strat. I don't.
Well, it worked out better the second time.
It did, and to be honest, here's the hot take here is if you've made a plan, play a map a certain way, and you get intel about what the enemy team is, unless you have an exact comp planned for countering that already, and it's drilled in practice, you're better off just running the same thing and cleaning it up, because trying to do something goofy and counter strat is usually, and I say usually, going to result in just a little bit worse performance. I would blame that entirely on just the unfamiliarity they had with the mechs they were playing on that map and during the counter strat.
Well, because was it? I guess it's hard to say. I called that your Night Gyres had the line on Kras, and either Lizzie maybe as well. But you must have had communication where you knew he wasn't paying attention to the lights in the low ground.
No, not at all.
Actually, no, we didn't panic.
No.
I think just
I
saw
walked
an
around the
opportunity to jump their heavy guys and said, "Oh, hey, look."
Yeah, hey, by the way,
Well, that's even better. Then.
we'd been looking to try to pick a heavy because they kept rotating the heavies over to Echo 6, and we saw an opportunity where I think Archon called out that their dragon and their summon are looking at us, and that was like, okay, well then that means we're not going to take, our light pack is not going to take free damage coming around so let's try again. Worst case scenario, we shoot at something once and turn around like we did the first time and come back.
Yeah, because we definitely didn't work the first time, but the second time around, you took out Kras one shot, stripped Lizzie, and then got Navid. So it definitely worked out in your favor right off the hop on that. And that's when
it was very nice.
Obviously everything turned around for you guys. So it was great. It was actually super crazy to see because, like I said, the way it all happened and how quickly it happened to change everything. Because especially with Lermgod? Yeah, Lermgod. In the Warhammer, sitting out far. His damage numbers were phenomenal. But like I said, he basically stuck in a position where he was basically screwed at that point.
Yeah, we came over the hill. We got the kill on we stripped the dragon. We got the kill on the light mech, the javelin. We killed the summoner, and then when we got to the top of the hill, we started pushing down the other. Like I rotated back up onto the hill, and I just looked out in the water, and there was this warhammer, and I was scratching my head like, when did that get there? And they kind of said, oh yeah, we should probably not stay here if that has alliance, because that guy, if we had kept the fight down there, he could have easily capitalized, just blowing us all up. But we have a lot of mobility, so we were able to get out of there with minimal damage. I think the big ticket item was getting our Night Gyres back into the center, because Kuda was too far out to get back into safety. Adam and Jiffy barely made it. I think Jiffy got pretty beat. Adam, I think, was pretty okay, but I mean, moving those things around the map at all they're so slow.
Yeah, because Gillikud was in a bad position. Kondo had full lines on him when you guys got back to center, and then, like I said, Jiffy had full lines because he got in and then could shoot down from. I thought he was going to lose to the Warhammer, but like you said, the Warhammer had 5 little pockets of rock to look through instead of just trying to focus on one guy. He was, by that point, like, he was screwed. So.
Yeah, end of the match when we're in the castle and we have cap timer on our side, and there's only 2 mechs with weapons left on their side. It's just kind of we just wait for them to make a silly pick, or wait for one of our guys that are fresher to get a good pick, and then call it. And that's what happened. We had a couple of our guys are good shots. They got hits on the Warhammer. He was having to move up into a bad position at that point. There's nothing he could do about it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So let's move into drop 4 then with the missiles. Guys are rude. Taking full advantage of the ATMs and the LRM rain, eh?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
We spied that they weren't. What we were afraid of was that they would take a ton of AMS to deal with any missiles that we brought, and we didn't really see much of that from the first 3 drops, so we felt comfortable bringing some of that to bear in the 4th one.
I'll remind you that we didn't see any of the middle 2 drops because there's no missiles. We didn't see a concern in the first drop.
I mean, they could have brought AMS for SRMs.
Well, I mean...
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Technically does change things, but...
Okay, but anyway, we took that. We recycled that deck from a previous practice, and the drop against it may look familiar. It was the drop on not Polar Highlands, Alpine Peaks, I think.
Alpine Peaks against Evil, yeah.
Yeah, against Evil, and it worked fairly well there. And we figured we could pressure Cap on the right hand. The Summoners gave us. I think we changed the linebackers out for Summoners, but that gave us some pressure without having to have these linebackers, which are very hot, running around the map, trying to poke. So yeah, we just felt like we were going to play a control deck there, and it worked out in our favor. I think Turok was able to, even though he didn't do much damage, he was able to lock down half the map. So it is what it is.
Sorry.
And now, drop 5. Take us into the brawl.
We were sitting there in the deck with the spreadsheet open in front of us, looking at this deck that had linebackers and Mad Cats on it, and we said, why is this here? This isn't a Ruble. I don't think this will. And then I sort of said, well, I mean, it could work if we just run. And then that was the decision. And I think we've scrimmed rushes. And this team, I don't know if, I'm sure chat or anyone else will likely agree that this team doesn't rush very. We tend to stagnate and stutter a lot of the times we try to play a full CQB. And I think it was that frustration and the knowledge that we've screwed that up so many times in scrims, in actual drops in the past. We just kind of had the mentality of, all right, we just need to go. That's it. We don't need to put the brakes on. We just need to go. If we're going to rush, we got to rush. We can't stall out. And I think everyone brought that to the table, really. And it was exciting to see, exciting to be a part of.
Got that right. It
Definitely. I mean, the push just worked in your favor, and it seems like that was kind of the name of the game. In drops 1 and 2, it seemed like you guys floundered a bit, but 3, 4, 5, you guys made extremely decisive movements, and it really helped you win. What caused you to be more decisive? Against Imperial, it definitely felt like that you were a little wish-washy on decisions. Against Evil, it felt like you wouldn't commit to some things, but this game, everything is decisive. What changed?
Nothing. In fact, I would say it's mainly deck. The decks were built with. I think the decks worked a little bit better as we proceed through this tournament. We're sort of fine tuning how we construct the ladder decks, and when something is, when you win something in Mech Lab, or when you have a good strategy right off the bat, and everyone sort of knows what they're supposed. If I send you out into a fight with a summoner, and I just tell you to move to this position, that's all well and good, which is what we've kind of been doing. But I felt like the difference, if you want to call it one, is instead of just telling you to move somewhere, that your job is to pressure their team and prevent them from moving into this location, and that gives you purpose, and then you can move around the map and make better decisions about how to carry that out. And that's probably the difference between the way we've been playing the previous matches and this.
And now, final question. You guys beat Black Omen, who had a very impressive showing against Imperial. How do you guys feel about your ability to take first in this?
It's going to depend on whether we show up to play, and EMP had I'm not throwing shade, but I saw the drops against MS, and some of them were quite close. So it's always scary to me to see a team come up off of a wake up call like that, where you nearly lose a drop or so, and it gets so sketchy. A lot of mechs die. So that tells me that they're going to be.
Mercstar is the new Eisen. Okay, you just wait and see. I'm calling it right now. They're working their way up. It's tough, but that's the way she goes.
And not to throw shade at any team, but if you get reminded that this is really, you're going to have to work still to put up numbers and perform. I know when we lose or get close to losing or have a really close game, right? We it's kind of a wake up call. Everyone sobers up and says that, all right, we got to actually put in effort to get this thing done. And I feel like that's going to be terrifying facing a UMP team coming off of that sort of tight. Even if all the games weren't tight like that, just the one, even that's enough. It's gonna be scary, but we're gonna be okay. We're gonna come to the table with what we've learned from this week and the previous two weeks, and see what we can do.
No, you got a good point there, because them coming off a close loss to you guys is okay, our strats worked. It was a bit too close. We can work on it. Coming off a close loss is to MS, a Div B team, Div C team. Yeah, like you said, they're gonna be no. Everyone's working harder now, all of you, or you're gonna be gone. Like I said, you got to make that decision. because you can't have close matches to teams who shouldn't be getting anywhere on you. So,
But they're the new Ison.
Yeah, now you're stomping on their.
But that's
What's
what I mean.
wrong
Right?
with you?
Even for how good they could be or good they are not up to your par. I mean, it's not throwing shade at them either, but it's like if you have that, they're playing that good. You need to, like you said, they're obviously dicking around. You can't let that happen.
Yeah, you got to up your game. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. I mean, that is one of the things of this tournament, though, and sort of visible in our first 2 drops. The variability in the sort of decks that people can take means that a lot of times you have to be really careful that you don't just get counter-comped just by design, like without them even planning for it.
Yeah.
You can have really dangerous decks on either side, and it doesn't matter how well you can shoot if they just bring a better deck to the table.
Well, I always thought playing against, because like in the tournament, right, we played as D4, we placed 13th. And it was always tough because you're still playing teams like Eon. You're playing guys like you. You know, we're hoping for Swamp Fox to get Blackwatch. We're like, shit, man, we're done for. And it's like, no. It's a lot of it is still in your head to a degree because you guys are still better players. But it's like you can't fear them off the hop. So the way that this actually works with the Div B teams playing Div A is actually a good thing. Because if you can get that out of your mindset,
D4.
well, believe me, when you gotta be truthful. When you're
Just
playing
burning all the
best
bridges.
teams, it's always scary
No,
to
I
play
think-
the best of the best when you guys are like we're good. Are we that good? I don't know, man. Like that's a tough one.
Well,
We've had plenty of close calls over the years.
we lost to Cameron's Highlanders in the World Championships last year. What's up? In a random queue match.
In a
We're not
random queue
invincible.
match?
Come play it.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Shout out to Cameron's Highlanders. They rushed us on Tourmaline Desert and killed us.
Like I said, yeah, I guess. Yeah, like I said, anytime anything could happen.
Yep.
It's crazy. Thanks for putting that out there, man. Making all the young guys feel good. All right, yeah, I feel good about myself now. Gonna do
All
some
right.
things.
Good. I'm glad you're gonna do this thing.
Yeah. But I'd like to thank you guys for coming for the interview. I mean, congratulations on the 3-2 win over Black Omen. So this was
And also very good fight from Black Omen. Even though the decision was 2-3, matches were close. Games could have swung either way, and just a great set from 2 top-level Div A teams.
Yeah, it was really fun. GG's guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good games. GG's.
See you guys.
have a good night.
Peace out. Good win.
So yeah, that was.
Not any more giveaways. I suppose that concludes the cast. Am I right?
That would, yeah. I only had the one because I got to save one for tomorrow. So when I'm casting
Same here.
Div D, so
And I will be back with Toaster casting Div A. RJF versus PHL should be another fun match. EU matches are always a lot of fun to watch. But until next time, I suppose we can kiss our wonderful Twitch viewers.
were we kissing them? I mean, hey.
Hey, you know
if
what?
We're not going there.
I'm not gonna enjoy it, but I'll do it. Forget it. Like whatever.
So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Be up early in the morning to watch the EU match, and then like 4:30 my time, mid-afternoon for the Div D match. Aces Wild 228. And have a good time. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you later. God bless.